as this is just cranked out towards left. Get up, ball, gone! A laser shot, 2-run homer for Tyler Locklear. It's his first of the season, and the Diamondbacks scream in front of the Cardinals 3-2.
Well, how about this? Locklear wasn't even supposed to be in the lineup in this game, and he's hammered a double and now a 2-run shot.
That's what it sounded like yesterday on the Arizona Diamondbacks TV network.
Boy, you just made me really sad, man. You made me instantly sad.
Yeah?
I feel like I just watched Old Yeller for the first time. Damn, man.
Spoiler.
Well, nobody knows what happens. You're just going to be sad at the end of it. T-Bone?
It's just
don't watch
not.
it.
They don't have the pitching depth.
Of course not.
Let's be real. The Cardinals, we know where it's at right now. It's not going well. The second half feels a whole lot like it did a year ago. And the expectations are quite different, Alex. This team, nobody really expected them to be here. I saw a quote yesterday from Randy Flores where he was saying, hey, if I told you in March that the Cardinals would be a half game out of a playoff spot when we get to July 24th, how would you feel? And the answer is you'd feel really good about it. But it doesn't feel really good right now as we're watching it. And right now, it feels as though we're watching the beginning of the end. It feels as though we're watching the end point of the Cardinals' 2026 campaign from a competitive standpoint. Mm-hmm. And it's because of the thing that we all wondered about going into the season, which is the pitching. They just don't have the depth. Michael McGreevy was not great yesterday, but he gave them a chance to win. And then the bullpen did what it's been doing recently, where it implodes. I'm pretty good with the Matt Swanson project, by the way. I'm good with him going down to AAA today if that's what they deem to be necessary. I don't feel the need to see anything more. Your guy, Gordon Graceffo, has become a pumpkin again. We all kind of knew it was probably coming based upon all of the blinking red lights that screamed regression. And guess what? Regression has come for Gordon Graceffo. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world, but Alex, this pitching staff just doesn't have what it takes. It doesn't have the depth to be able to overcome any kind of injury questions. And the JoJo Romero appendicitis, that's the thing that ultimately did them in.
Yeah, I mean, again, like we talked about this with Derek a few weeks ago, that it felt like that Royals series, you were just chasing your tail with the bullpen to where you were trying to find somebody who could just level things out and stop this snowball from turning into an avalanche, and it just never happened. I just went and looked through it. You lost 4 of 7 series going from that Kansas City Royals one all the way out of the All-Star break where you lost to the Angels. Like, it just felt like this was going to happen at some point, and we all knew it was going to be because of the pitching. Now, it's not all on the pitching because your offense has faltered at times over the last couple of weeks. You know, yesterday they do their job and they put up 6 runs, but the pitching doesn't help you. So, like, it's just one of those things that when one hole on the right side of the boat starts to leak and you plug it up, the left side starts to leak. And so it's just, it was a matter of time, it felt like, for the Cardinals. And it sucks to say because I did feel like this was going to be some type of magic season to where we didn't expect them to be pushing for a playoff spot. But, man, like, I don't get upset about it, though. Like, it sucks, but this was a rebuild. Like, it was supposed to look like what it's looked like the last 3 weeks. And frankly, we got better products than what we anticipated early on. And it doesn't take away any feeling that I had about this Cardinals of how refreshing the season has felt. And the excitement around Walker and Weatherholt and McGreevy, although yesterday wasn't a lot of fun. Like,
that being said, like, he was still good.
Yeah, he still gave you a chance to win. And that's the biggest thing. So
he's the model of consistency for this Cardinals team.
Yeah.
And I want to give him full kudos. He did not have his best stuff yesterday. Still went almost 7 innings and gave up 4 earned runs.
And he battled.
Dude, you'll take that.
Yeah, he battles every time. So it's just, it was a matter of time. It felt like we were talking about the shoe potentially dropping in June. They kept waving it off, and then they finally got to July, and it hit them.
You guys know I've seen a lot of bad baseball in my time as a Royals fan.
How's this?
Dude, this is so much better.
You heard him in the open.
Oh, my God. This is so much better. Like, you felt disappointment in my voice, Alex, coming back from break today. There's never disappointment when the Cardinals or when the Royals are going through a rebuild season. It's
you just expect it.
Dude, they get into the middle of April, and it's always the 10-24 start that the Cardinals had from a few years ago, where you're like, okay, didn't even get us to July. Like, the goal for the Royals most years is, hey, can you get us to training camp for the Chiefs And the answer typically is, nah, that ain't happening.
Oh, that's a shame.
The Cardinals got us there, man. They got us to the trade deadline where they kept things interesting up until, I would say, the middle of July. And now we're at the end of July. It's not all that interesting anymore. But guess what? A week from today, it's going to be interesting again because we'll talk about what they're going to sell at the trade deadline. Hell, guess what we're talking about for the vast majority of today's show? What they're doing at this year's trade deadline. So they remained a story, and they have a lot of good pieces that you think they can build around for the future. This season, regardless of where things go from here, I would deem to be a relatively speaking success, given what expectations were. So it feels bad today, but bigger picture, they kind of accomplished what they set out to do this season, even though it ain't a whole lot of fun to watch right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, like, going into the year, I think Alex kind of said this well. Like, look, the offense was more of where the focus was, in my opinion, as to what we were looking for the future. Do you have a core, right? Are you going to get answers on Gorman? Well, you did. He's not a part of it. Did you get answers on Scott? Not a part of it. Jordan Walker, part of the future, right? I don't think there were there were plenty of questions with the pitching, but nothing that was true like, hey, you have high upside arms that are in this rotation. Are these going to be part of the future moving forward? I said this at the beginning of the year. I thought maybe there was one arm that belonged in the future of this rotation. That was McGreevy. Some guys could work their way into that conversation, but I wasn't expecting that. And then for the bullpen, I mean, we've seen what the bullpen's been, and those things change over so fast, like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, and I would argue, like, even the rotation has been, you've had answers. Matthew Liberatore, coming into the season, we had questions. Is this guy a part of the future of the rotation? The answer appears to be no. Michael McGreevy, can he be what he was the back half of last year? The answer is yes. Yeah, that guy is really good. And he's not a number one and probably not a number two starter on a contender. Can he be a 3 or a 4, though? Yeah, I think so. Can Andre Palante be either a trade asset for you as a starter, or can he be a guy that's a number 5 starter for a contender? Yeah, I think so, probably. What is Kyle Leahy? Is it worth even going through this experiment with him as a starting pitcher? Yeah, it's worth it. I had my real reservations about it for the first couple of months of the season. I was proven incorrect. They were correct in doing this with Kyle Leahy. It was worth figuring out what he can be as you expand his role as a starter. It has been more successful for Kyle Leahy this year than it has been at any stretch of time for Matthew Liberatore. I did not anticipate saying that, but that is very clearly the reality as they have tried to stretch out as starting pitchers. So even on the pitching side of things, it's disappointing that they can't stick in the mix given how low the bar is to clear for the playoff spot this year. But I would still say the pitching has been, again, relative to expectations, a successful year for them. And they've had answers that they really needed to get coming in.
I agree with T-Bone. I think I looked at that rotation at the beginning of the season, and I said there's 2 guys that I would say are auditioning for a long-term spot in this rotation, and it was McGreevy and Liberatore. And I think both you had answers on. Now, Palante's been great, Leahy has been great, and May has been fine up until these last couple of starts. I think those are all answers for you of, all right, well, we got more in the system and these guys haven't worked out. So now let's see what these guys have. And I think the reason fans, because for the longest time when they were competitive, you know, you guys were saying that, hey, you buy in this one. And a lot of the fans were surprising you guys in terms of their response. And I think it's just because they didn't want to pay the price to go out there and upgrade the team because they know where this team is at. So it's weird to say because it feels like fans have been so aggressive with the Cardinals for the longest time. I think they were very level-headed this season coming into it with the Cardinals. Agreed. Of, hey, this team's not supposed to be good. We'll enjoy what they have when we have it, but we're not going to do anything that doesn't make sense for what the Cardinals are trying to accomplish.
And, man, they had some really cool moments this year. I'm not trying to have a funeral for him today, but I think that's kind of what this week has been.
Yeah.
Hit it.
We don't have to go there yet. Whenever they sell off at the deadline, that's when we'll officially get there.
Really?
But
you really going to take away boys to men?
I mean, you got Jordan Walker having a true coming out party. You had the home run derby with him representing the Cardinals and becoming the first ever player on a national stage to win in what is really like a crown jewel of Major League Baseball's in-season moments. You had J.J. Weatherholtz become what appears to be a true core player, and you got him extended for the long haul. Michael McGreevy has made good on every promise of what he was supposed to be for you this season. I would argue Alec Burleson has not just become what people expected him to be, but has become even more than that. I mean, he's on pace this year for 25 to 30 home runs. Doing that at Busch Stadium is pretty remarkable given how hard it is to hit homers here at this stadium. And we got into the numbers on that on the Redbird Report yesterday. Pretty good year, man. Pretty good year. A lot of great moments. It's just, coming to an end the same way that it did a year ago.
Come on, man. You said the word 3 times. Can we play it, please?
Go ahead.
We've come to the end of the road. This is BK tonight on his drive home.
I think.
Luca, they had it. Damn it, they had it, Luca.
They win tonight. Luca's going to think like we're back.
Dustin May is going to go 7 scoreless.
Yeah. Walker's
be
hitting
awesome.
2 bombs.
You know I'm going to be back in if they sweep the Reds this weekend.
BK's tarps
We're going
off.
to come in on Monday.
You see BK's the one guy in the office.
Twisting around your head like a helicopter.
We're still alive, I believe.
They can't kill us.
Angels in the outfield, right, boys? Woo!
Luca in his Victory Blues jersey is just whipping it overhead.
Pareka just, yeah!
I'm Jordan Walker!
You gotta laugh when you're going through a misery.
Oh, I'm going to miss this.
Hit it again, T-Bone. To the end. Sing along at home.
They had so much promise.
I got to be honest.
Don't they make you
Rookie of
want to
the
cry?
year.
This is a great.
Hold on, T-Bone.
Yeah, damn it, T-Bone. Let us live in this.
They had the Rookie of the Year. MVP candidate.
Comeback player of the year with Dustin May.
I don't think baseball does that.
They should.
And he only did that for a month.
Manager of the year in Ollie.
You guys remember
They're
that one
classic
hitter?
again under Ollie.
GM of the year in Heim.
God, I'm so excited for Brandon Clark.
Damn it.
Oh, that's true.
It's only going to be 4 more years before we see their second-round pick.
And Baez was going to come up at some point.
Herrera looks so good for 6 weeks.
This was good times.
At least we're going to see Quinn Matthews soon, right?
No.
Well, Bryson Motts is going to come out of the bullpen for us.
I can't wait for Schuster to be back.
Do you guys remember that moment with Bruce Zimmerman?
Where he told us he was going to throw 150 pitches because he's going to win for the Cardinals? Do you remember when Blaze Jordan came up? We thought all was lost at third base. And this guy came up and just made play after play.
Remember after the first game of the season when we said it could be a 60 stolen base year for Victor Scott?
Remember when T-Bone told us on the T-Bone 3 that this bullpen was going to be elite?
Oh, Matt Swanson is going to be so good. He's going to be best reliever in baseball.
And then Jose Fermin was just another devil magic
How
player.
many home runs was Nolan Gorman supposed to hit this year, according to
40.
T-Bone?
40, baby.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. I can't do 4 more years of this. Damn it.
I'm tired of playing this song.
4 more years.
4 more.
Well, when they're good, you know what we could do? We could play I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men, because that's what we'll feel when they're winning.
Hey, man.
I don't think I'm going to feel that, no.
Okay. Well,
That's Alex. He's T-Bone on BK.
At least the lockout's coming next year. God, right, boys? Yeah. Cap.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll dive into some NFL quick hitters. It is a Friday, which means it's Ask Us Anything. If you guys have any questions, sports or otherwise, we'll get into those coming up at 11:45. 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. You can also check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. But coming up next, guys, biggest story in sports today is that LeBron James has announced his next destination. And I got to tell you, I think it was
so bad we're
the
talking
worst
basketball.
case scenario. We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, you've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. LeBron James has selected a team. It is the Philadelphia 76ers.
Woo! Philly!
It is his, quote, last decision, end quote.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah. It's a 2-year, $8 million deal. He signed for the veteran minimum, which, hey, man, if he's doing this to find a spot where he can potentially win a title, he is putting literally the money where his mouth is and saying, I'm going to take the least amount of money possible to be able to build a contender around me, or at least with me, in the Eastern Conference, which is the easier path to a potential NBA Finals. It's, if we're being real, where he's had the vast majority of his success in his NBA career. He then posted this over on social media. Quote, I thought I was done when the season came to an end. I wasn't ready to announce it, and I knew I needed some time to decide, but I was pretty sure that I had played my last game. I was honest at the last press conference when I said I needed to look at myself and decide if I still love the game. I still truly do love this game, and I think I have more to give. The last few weeks have been special. I've never been able to have no clue what to do and take real time to just think. I've had an incredible few months with all the people I love trying to figure it all out, and this is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. What am I really playing for at this point? I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind. I still want to compete, to win, and to have a chance at feeling the winning of another championship. I believe I can help make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team, and I'm excited to energize a new fan base and start this incredible journey one last time. Thank you to LA. Miami, I'll forever love you, and Northeast Ohio will always be home. That was what LeBron James had to say about his final decision playing for the Sixers. This is a worst-case scenario.
Oh, man.
I mean, if he went to the Golden State Warriors, him ending his career with the other guy that really defined this era of the NBA with Steph Curry would have been a remarkable story. Him going back home to Cleveland to potentially finish it where it all started could have bought into that story. Him going to Miami would have been weird, and I don't love the basketball fit, but him with Giannis could have been at least interesting. Mm-hmm. Him going to Philly, like, I suppose they could be good, but there's no history there. It feels like a strange landing spot for him, and I'm not even sure they're a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference, much less an NBA title contender with him. And a lot of it relies upon, hey, man, is Joel Embiid going to, like, play basketball this year? Or is he going to do another thing where he's hurt for the vast majority of the season? I don't know, man. What did you make of this, Alex? Because to me, of the teams that felt as though they were legitimate contenders for LeBron's services, this felt like the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I frankly, I'm not excited about that's where you decide to go. I don't think it's a headliner spot. I think Golden State would have probably been the top one, but Miami is a close second because you're going back where you won the championships. And then, of course, you got Cleveland. I don't know, though. I also look at it and say I feel like it's probably the best roster for him to try and go win a championship with. To go there. Now, all of this resides on, what Embiid is going to look like, but him signing for the minimum, I wonder if this means that they can find a way to go get Anthony Davis, because that was kind of the report of, hey, he wants to go somewhere to where Davis can go, or I think it was Kyrie Irving was the other one. And then the other thing I thought of is, when was the last time the 76ers won a championship? The 80s?
Yeah.
Like 82, 83? T-Bone wasn't alive. It doesn't matter. That's the other thing. If you're LeBron,
they went to the finals with AI, and I think that was the most recent.
Yeah, they didn't win with AI.
No, they did not win.
Lost
but
to the Lakers.
Yeah, yeah. But that was the other thing I thought of. It's man, if you're LeBron,
2001 was the last time they've been to the finals. 1982 was the last time they won the finals.
So you're LeBron.
Been a while.
You're going to a team that hasn't won in a very long time. You're viewed as the GOAT in the NBA, and now you get to cement your legacy by going to a franchise to win a championship or potentially win a championship that has never won since the 80s. So to me, that was part of it, where it's look, I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah,
all I saw was somebody stepping behind me. You guys are laughing.
Somebody was the big boss, John Kiowski, who came in to find out how cold is it in
Did
here.
Did he realize it was freezing? Hell yeah, we're going to get this fixed.
He walked in, touched his arms, and said,
Yep.
Sorry. T-Bone, I could be convinced that the Sixers could be good. It just feels odd. It feels strange. It feels like when Joe Montana was on the Chiefs. The Chiefs had a good roster around him, and they ultimately went to the playoffs with Joe Montana. Doesn't make it any less strange that he's finishing his career in a Chiefs uniform.
But go through all the other options. Could he realistically win a championship with Miami?
No.
I don't think so.
Could he realistically win a championship with Cleveland?
No.
Could he realistically win a championship with Golden State?
Absolutely not.
So this is the one spot he can win a championship
I'll
with.
give you credit for this, Alex, and I think you're right. I think from a basketball perspective, this was the best case scenario. I'm looking at this, and I should have specified here.
Irrationally.
I'm looking at this from a basketball storyline.
Oh, I'm with you.
Right? From a fan of the game, not necessarily. For LeBron's perspective, if his full goal is to try to win another title, I think this was probably the best landing spot for him. I personally believe that the Spurs were actually a better landing spot for him.
That I agree with.
But if you want to go back out east, the Sixers were probably your best landing spot to do so.
And it never really sounded like the Spurs were really in this conversation. It came down to the four that we just mentioned.
My guess is they just wanted to be Victor Wembanyama's team, and they viewed it as like, that would mess up our chemistry. We're building for the next 10 years, not just for 2027. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
From a basketball perspective, this was probably his best landing spot because I don't think the Knicks were ever going to make this happen either.
Yeah.
From a storyline standpoint, I think it's the least interesting perspective because, again, you've got the homecoming with Cleveland or Miami if you want to go there, and Golden State had the Steph Curry ties. This one just feels like a strange fit. It feels like Joe Montana on the Chiefs. It feels like Emmitt Smith in a Cardinals jersey. Did you know he played for the Cardinals, T-Bone?
No.
It feels like...
Oh, wait, yeah, I did, because I watched the Cowboys
Michael Jordan with the Wizards. It's just odd.
And part of me just feels like it's odd now. Fast forward 6 months from now, and LeBron and the 76ers are one of the best teams in the East. I feel like we're going to be talking about how cool of a storyline this is, that LeBron's going on top and potentially winning a championship with the Sixers.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
especially you who think dreams about LeBron. You get your LeBron PJs on.
That's true.
Yeah, it would be cool if they're up at the top, but it's like how much that's going to be associated with like actually LeBron? Because I would say it's about the roster around him, not so much LeBron.
He'll be the story.
He'll be the story.
He could play 5 games. He'll be the story.
I just don't see him and Embiid being on the floor much. I agree from a basketball perspective. It makes sense. I'm with BK though. I saw this and was like, nah, this ain't it for me. I just don't find this interesting.
They're a good basketball team.
Their roster's really good. But you're right. The story itself to me is not all that compelling.
I just think if I'm him, I want a chance at a championship before I retire.
I get that.
And I don't want to go play somewhere and just have a fun time. I had my fun. I want a championship.
It's
now.
also, I find it noteworthy that he signed a 2-year deal. Mm-hmm. You know, he signed a 2-year, $8 million contract, which that's crazy. That LeBron James was willing to sign for the minimum. Kudos to him.
Well, he's also getting tons of, advertising and things like that.
But guys just don't do this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't, even Tom Brady at the end of his career signed for a bunch of money with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It wasn't as though he was playing for free down there. And LeBron basically is, for all intents and purposes. Him with Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid. You also now have Jaylen Brown on that roster. Edgecombe has a really good young guard as well. They could be quite good this year. And them versus New York, from the NBA's perspective, I'll say this was maybe their best possible landing spot.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have in the East this year, Boston, New York, and Philly all among the top contenders in the East.
Silver's celebrating. Now he gets the schedule.
Couldn't ask for much better than that. And in the West, it's OKC and San Antonio, but I love it as a basketball fan. Those two teams are fun as hell to watch, but from a market standpoint, yeah, whatever.
LA will be there. It's okay.
No.
They got Luka, man. They got Luka.
They got Austin Reeves.
Yeah, they traded for a big centerman. They got his big man.
Do you know his name?
Hell no.
I didn't know who they traded for.
Walker Kessler.
I didn't even know who he played for prior to them trading.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
I forgot they acquired him.
They vastly overpaid for him. I'll be interested to see how this goes.
I mean, that's just, I just like, you guys are right. Like the storyline now, I could give 2 issues about Philly. It doesn't make sense with LeBron, but I mean, if I'm him, I've gotten everything I want in my career. Now I just want to go out with a championship.
Yeah, I see this playing out to where Embiid and LeBron are barely on the floor, and maybe Brown's out a little bit as well. They end up being like a 6 seed or something, and then they run into New York in the first round and then go home. That's how I see this playing out for Philadelphia.
Can you think of, and maybe our text line will have a good a good answer on this. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. The only one that immediately comes to mind for me is Brady. But can you think of another guy that was like on his last legs that decided to sign for one more opportunity at a title somewhere and was still among the best players on the team, or was like a driving force for said championship, and it ultimately went really well there?
Ooh,
Brady did it. You could throw Gronk into the mix with the Bucks as well.
That caveat you put on at the end is tough because the guys that I can think of didn't really pursue the championship. They just went somewhere.
Yeah, and like they were like on the roster carried by the rest of the team.
Like Mike Madonna's the one that comes for me where it's like, man, I watched that guy in Dallas for so long and then he's in Detroit for 1 year. But
we see this in the NFL a lot with like edge rushers where they're the kind of the final piece. Yeah. And they become, a supplementary edge rusher for the team. At the NBA, you don't see this very often because guys just don't play this long and have this level of success when they're LeBron James's age.
Yeah.
Somebody said Peyton Manning. That's another good one.
Yeah, I guess
in Denver, he went out on top.
Yeah, I guess that's true because he was older by the time he got to Denver. Yeah. I guess that's fair.
He had a neck surgery.
I could think of Brett Hull when he went to the Phoenix Coyotes, but they weren't pursuing championships at that time. He was going to play for Gretzky.
Yeah, Manning and Brady are the two that really make sense in this regard.
You can't really think of any in baseball, can you?
Oh, Ray Allen with the Miami Heat would have been one of these guys.
Yeah,
as well.
but he played for multiple teams, though. He was with Boston, too, for a little bit. Yeah, I guess that's fair.
And I don't know you're more of a basketball guy. I mean, Ray Allen was always a great sharpshooter, but never like a...
Yeah, no. You're underestimating what Ray Allen was. Ray Allen was a stud.
He was basically Steph Curry in the 90s.
Ray Allen was a superstar. Yeah. Well, a superstar is putting it too far. But
that's more of what I was going for. Is like Ray Allen was a really good player, but never a superstar. Like never the same as LeBron.
Somebody brought up...
That's what I was getting
Somebody brought up Ray Bork, who basically had his entire career with Boston and then was in Colorado for that last year and win a championship.
Ray Allen is a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
And a 10-time All-Star?
I didn't know about the 10-time All-Star, but I don't care about the All-Star game. So, but I knew he was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Ray Allen was...
I wasn't trying to say he was just like a six-man that was average in his career. What I meant was he wasn't in the same, like, LeBron James. He's a superstar.
Yeah. I mean, he was like in the... I guess I'll say... I'm trying to think of a good... Like, Dwayne Wade probably would be the same level of star...
Or Carmelo.
Maybe that Ray Allen was in his career. Ray Allen was a really good player, man, and was a big-time player in college as well. He was a star when he was at UConn.
Man.
I
know you weren't alive, but I'm just...
Before my time.
Yeah, but, like, he's
Ray
history
Allen?
For the Pacers.
Ray Allen?
Yeah, wasn't he Pacers?
No, he was a Sonic. Sonic and Bucks.
I swear he was Pacers.
Quit trying to, like, put false stories in my
head. Who am I thinking of on the Pacers, then?
Reggie Miller?
Reggie Miller, that's who I'm thinking of.
Now, that was a superstar.
That's who I'm thinking of. Isn't Reggie Miller and Ray Allen kind of in the same stratosphere?
Yeah, similar.
Yeah, I feel like Reggie Allen and Reggie Miller and Ray Allen are, God, they're like the same player to me in my mind right now.
I mean, they were the same.
I feel like they were kind of the same player, though.
Yeah.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Somebody said Stafford with the Rams. I feel like Stafford went there too early.
Yeah,
that wasn't at the end of his career.
The way that I look at it.
If he went there like this year, then I could say that would be it.
Somebody said Brett Favre with the 09 Vikings. I don't know if that was exactly going out on top, but yeah, he did go out with the Vikings.
He tried to go out on top.
From the past.
He tried.
Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling with Arizona. That's a pretty good one.
Because I was thinking baseball. I was thinking like Scherzer, but he's been
Berkman
around.
with the Cardinals?
It's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Beltran with the Cardinals? Although Beltran went to a couple of other places.
Beltran with the Astros actually is a really good answer for this.
Yeah.
Guy that ultimately kind of went out with a bang.
Speaking about someone that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
See what I did?
Went out with a drum solo.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get into Ask Us Anything. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for any questions that you may have, sports or otherwise. But coming up next, let's dive into some NFL quick hitters here on BK and Ferrario.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. Yesterday, the Cardinals fell to the Arizona Diamondbacks 10-6. Tonight, they start a 3-game set here at home against the Cincinnati Reds. 7:15 will be first pitch. Dustin May will be on the mound for St. Louis. And the big news out of the NBA, LeBron James is signing a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. You've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. In about 10 minutes, we'll get to Ask Us Anything. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line if you guys have any questions, sports or otherwise. Let's start out with this, Alex. Saw this the other day from The Athletic. NFL's underrated and overrated teams in 2026. I wanted to put our own spin on it. Okay? Who is the team in the NFL most likely, and you can decide which side you'd prefer to go with first, to go from worst to first in their division? And who's the team most likely to go from first to worst in their division? Which side of those would you like to begin with? Worst first or first for worst?
Let's start.
Team that's going to get better or worse?
Let's start first to worst. Go ahead, T-Bone.
I say I got my first to worst.
I think I have mine too, and I think we're going to be in the same spot.
You want to say it at the same time?
Sure.
1,
3, 2, 1.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
We were on the
Eagles.
same page, T-Bone.
Eagles.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll be the worst in that division, but I don't think they're going to be first. I think
That's
the Cowboys.
the name of the game.
I think the Cowboys and Commanders could be better.
I think Pittsburgh's going to be the worst team in their division this year.
I mean, like, to be clear, me and BK kind of took what felt like an easy one.
Yeah.
Eagles is a little bit more bolder, but I could see it.
I don't think the Steelers are going to be worse than the Browns.
I think they
I
might
don't
be.
know.
I think
Rodgers 45 out there.
I think yours and mine are very similar to the point of you're talking third or fourth in their division.
If I was going to say a different one, I actually would not go with the Eagles. I would go with the Panthers.
I was going to say
Panthers
if
won
I
their
go
division last year, and I think they might be the worst team in that division.
They
Now,
suffered
the
a big blow
Falcons could
yesterday.
also be
that
pretty
division's
terrible,
just
but
trash, so I don't really know if I want to do that one.
I think those are the two most likely teams for me. I like your Eagles one, though, Alex. Why are you out on them?
I just, because I think losing A.J. Brown, and I know he really wasn't utilized that much, but it feels like they're a one-trick pony. I don't trust Saquon Barkley. I feel like Nick Sirianni's starting to trend in the opposite direction, and I think their defense is just continuing to get old. So I think the Cowboys and the Commanders might be better.
On the other side, which team is most likely to go from worst in their division to the top team in their division this upcoming year? You want to do the same thing again?
Sure. Because
On three, do it together.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
The
Lions.
Giants.
Wow, we all had different teams.
You said Saints?
I did.
Oh.
I
Bleep
thought
that
about the Saints. Okay, that's
Bleep that
interesting.
quarterback.
Go ahead. Well, who'd you say, Alex?
I said the Lions.
Okay.
I don't feel like the Bears. Well, we all know with the Packers. I don't feel like the Bears are going to get any better. I feel like the Bears are kind of going to be where they're at, and I do think the Lions, they dealt with a ton of injuries last year, and I just think their offensive weapons are much better than most of those other teams in the NFC North. So I think the Lions could trend to being an 11 or a 12-win team, and I think the Bears may dip down a little bit.
Yeah, and the reason I said the Giants, it's twofold for me. One, I find their offense very interesting if they can stay on the field. Big caveat. But Malik Neighbors, you've got Jackson Dart, Scadaboo at the running back, and defensively they still got a pretty good front line there. And now they've got an adult in the room in Harbaugh. So I find them interesting. And then the second thing to them is I think this could be the division that we're kind of sleeping on that isn't as good as people expect. Because to your point on the Eagles, though I don't think they'll go from first to last, I don't know that there's a great team in that division, and I could see where we're looking at this, and all of a sudden you look up and you go, "Oh wow, they went 10-7 or 11-6 and won their division." It wouldn't shock me at all.
I have a fear that John Harbaugh is washed. That's one of my intrusive thoughts going into this season. Did you guys see his speech, I guess you'll call it that, in front of the team the other day that was posted on social media?
Is that where he told Scadaboo to actually land the backflip?
No.
I was like, come on, man, you can't do it.
Look it up on social media if you guys haven't seen it. It's John Harbaugh in front of the team. I think it was like his introduction to the team. It was the most cringeworthy thing that you'll see today.
Hell yeah.
It was strange. It was like he had zero preparation in what he was going to say. He's just kind of like looking around the room, and he did what Luka does, where we'll ask him, like, hey, what do you want to do today? And he'll look around and be like, water bottle.
Yep. My kids do
Light.
the same thing.
Television. And it's like, what?
My kids are
What
obsessed with poop these days. And so when I asked Emma what she wants to do for her birthday tomorrow, she goes, poop.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
And
Nice.
that was what it felt like watching John Harbaugh in front of his team. I just don't know how that one's going to go, man. So I don't have a whole lot of trust in them. They also hired Matt Nagy, and hey, man. I've seen the Matt Nagy experience. I don't have a whole lot of belief in that. Scadaboo's coming back from a pretty terrible injury. Their number one wide receiver also coming back from a terrible injury, and their quarterback can't stay healthy. That guy can't stay out of concussion protocol, so I'm out on the New York Giants.
I get it.
I'll go ahead and make the case for the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, yeah, because that team's...
Spin this turn.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't wait for this one.
It's pretty simple. It's less about them and more about the division. I don't trust Carolina. I don't think Atlanta's going to be good. Look at their quarterback situation.
But you trust a cap-strapped old team in the Saints?
Hey, man, they're not cap-strapped anymore. For the first time in like a decade, the New Orleans Saints actually have a normal roster.
And they're getting a little bit younger. They're still on the older side, but...
And I don't think Tyler Shuck is going to be great. I think he's fine. I think he's a totally capable starting NFL quarterback, like the 20th best quarterback in the league going into this season.
Screwed my survivor.
They also got Travis Etienne, who apparently wants to be called Travis Etienne now after like knowing him for a decade. I don't know.
Wait, what?
If Chris Olave is able to stay healthy, that guy's a really good wide receiver. So I think the Saints might be a team that can go 9-8 this year, and in that division, I think that's good enough.
9-8 is wild, man.
I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah, like
I didn't think that the Panthers would win that division last year. They won it with a negative 70-point differential.
And isn't this the division where you don't even have to be 500?
Correct.
Like you can
Last
go
year
right
they were
underneath it.
8-9.
Yeah.
The Panthers were, and they won the division.
Yeah, I could see it. And again, it's nothing to do with the Saints roster. It's more just, it's the NFC South.
Exactly.
Like it makes sense to me.
I'm not making a super bullish case for the Saints. I think their offense should be pretty good. But other than that, it's more of a I'm shorting the rest of the division as opposed to I'm really buying what the Saints are going to be this year. So I think them at roughly 500, playing 6 games against the Panthers, Bucks, and Falcons this upcoming year. I think they've got a chance to be able to make it to the playoffs.
I like
as the
the way
number
you
one team in
think,
the division.
But you're crazy, dog.
I appreciate that. I think they could be this year's Steelers. Steelers last year were not very good, and they made it to the playoffs at 10-7, and not a soul believed they would do anything once they got there.
That's fair.
I think the New Orleans Saints could be that this year. All right, alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Let's dive into Ask Us Anything next here on BK and Ferrario. Time for Ask Us Anything, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. Any questions you may have, sports or otherwise, we'll get to them now. We will talk to Mike McKenna in about 15 minutes on BK and Ferrario. From Doug's fat friend, BK, did you get in any trouble last night from your wife for crushing Luca's dreams?
I wonder if the Reese Show said anything about us.
I don't know.
Probably not. They don't listen to us.
No, I did not. She, you'll never believe this, but does not listen to the show at all times. So I don't think she heard that segment. But I did not get in trouble.
I think they mean more. Did you go home and tell Luca he can't be a professional hockey player? That's what I think they meant.
I've been thinking about this a lot
At
today.
3 years old,
Luca, you're done, buddy.
I would not tell him that. If he got to 16 and it didn't look as though Division I hockey was in the cards, much less professional hockey, I would tell him, hey, man, like, let's go ahead and have a backup plan ready to go. From the 314, guys, does it seem to you that when the Cardinals pitching is finally ready to win, the new core will already be on their way out, mainly due to free agency and money? That is a legitimate question to ask. And this is the thing that, T-Bone, we've talked about this in the past. It happens quicker than you expect, where your window opens and shuts. It happened to the 2016 Cubs, where the window opened and it lasted exactly 1 year. It happened to the Diamondbacks, where they have since thrown money at their pitching. It just has never come together for them. And so they had a 1 year window, basically. The Blue Jays, last year might have been their only shot to be able to win a World Series. The Braves, they've had this long extended window with their core. Guess what? Their worst team won the World Series. The Phillies, dude, they've had superstars on that team for like 6 years now. They went to one, and that's it. And Zach Wheeler then had thoracic outlet syndrome. Aaron Nola, who they gave this long-term contract extension to, and we all would have been interested in Nola at the time. He's been awful ever since. So, yeah, I think it's a fair question to ask of, can you get the timing right? Is it reasonable to build this way, or do you have to kind of go for it at some point? I don't know, but it's a fair question to ask.
Yeah, and this is what makes rebuild so hard is teams typically develop one side of the ball and then they never really develop the second one. Like, would you guys call Baltimore's rebuild a success so far?
God, no.
They've been to the playoffs, I think, once, maybe twice. But they've never developed the pitching side, right? I mean, they developed all the position players, and hell, they're even throwing money at the position player group with Pete Alonso. Mm-hmm. They've never figured out the pitching.
Would you consider Detroit's rebuild a success?
No.
I agree.
And they're about ready to potentially trade Skubal at this deadline. So, yeah, it's so hard, and I think it is a fair question. It's why I keep saying, or raising the question, not saying, is this the offseason where they kind of start to push a little bit on the pitching side? Because if you went out and let's say you acquire a Soriano, let's say at the deadline, right? They just do the offseason early from the LA Angels. All right, well, now I can see how you've got Soriano there as your one. You've got McGreevy currently slated as a two. Eventually, you'll have guys that can bump him down. And then it just comes down to, look, Doyle will probably be here quicker than we're expecting, right? I think there's a chance he's up here by next September. You know, Sane's a chance he's here ready to go by, like, July. And then you're talking about Quinn Matthews. Like, now you're starting to see how that's there to where you make that one little move to push. You've got your core four kind of figured out right now. You hope one of Baez or Rodriguez in a couple years kind of adds to being a part of that, becomes a fifth bat. And now you're ready to go. The problem, though, is if a lot of these teams think they can do this all internally, and most of the time that's just not the case.
From the 314, guys, would you take a shot on Logan Stanley for the Blues? Alex?
He's a lefty. Is that correct, or is he a righty?
I'm not interested. Brandon Carlo took the spot of where Logan Stanley could potentially help you.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lefty, but for the price he's going to be, and I don't think he's been great defensively at all in his career, yeah, I'd say pass.
Yeah,
I'd rather trade for Nikishin.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, because he fits more into like your timeline too. So yeah, I'm with you. I have no interest in Stanley.
If the Blues are adding to their lineup, at least in my opinion, they should be looking to truly upgrade, not just add for the sake of adding. They don't need depth at this point. No. Their depth is fine. My questions are more with the upside and if they're going to be able to get
I think goal scoring or mobile defenseman is what I would be saying. And all of those, by the way, are core, like, young pieces that would fit into your timeline.
From the 636, do you guys think that Michael McGreevy could finish top 10 or top 15 in Cy Young votes this year? It's a fair question. In the National League right now,
top 15.
He's top 10 in ERA in the National League. So, yeah, I think he could be in that mix.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be top 15. Top 10 will be a little tougher. I mean, the National League's so loaded on the Cy Young conversation.
He's got to maintain this, though.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
He's got to do this the rest of the season, which is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet top 15. I don't know that I would bet top 10 just yet, because you got to remember, too, like, it's not just starters. Like Mason Miller will get some votes for Cy Young. I would bet top 15.
So here's the problem for him. His analytical numbers will not be helpful. Mm-hmm. And his traditional numbers, really the only one you can point to is the ERA. Because if you are a traditionalist, you look at ERA and record, win-loss record. His win-loss record is terrible. It's 4-8 on the year.
Yeah, and I think
now that's not reflective of how he's pitched, but he just gets no run support.
Well, and that's where I think the analytical side too are, because when people vote Cy Young, they go straight to the strikeouts and the elite stuff before they worry about just the ERA. So
a lot of people will, and for those people, they will not have Michael McGreevy on their ballot. No. And for the people that don't look at that stuff, they'll look at ERA plus win-loss. I think there are fewer of those people, just to be clear. And for those people, he also might be lower on their list because of the win-loss record. Mm-hmm. So he could get squeezed, but I think he's deserving of that kind of consideration for his season. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. From the 314, guys, would you be interested in Jimmy Crooks, Cooper Jerpy, and a low-level prospect for Reed Detmers? I'd consider that.
You think that would get it done?
Possibly, yeah. I don't know how they would value Jimmy Crooks, but if they think Jimmy Crooks can be a legit number one catcher long term, then yeah, I think something like that could get it done. Yeah.
I just don't know. Does Detmers really help you that much?
I think we've undersold what Detmers is, and I'm part of this. Reed Detmers is really good, man.
I guess. I don't know. It's just not something that feels like it moves the needle for me, that like where next year I feel like, oh, yeah, they got a chance now because it's Reed Detmers.
Oh, no, I don't think he does that, but he's part of that slow, gradual build, right? Like in 2 years, when Senja, Matthews, Doyle are here, he slots in at like 3, ahead of, with 2 of those guys taking his number 1 and 2.
His strikeout rate is above where Jack Flaherty's strikeout rate was when he was here, and he has a lower walk rate than what Jack Flaherty did. If you were interested in like a Dylan Cease in the past, that's kind of similar to the profile that we're talking about here with Reed Detmers. Is could you unlock that next level for him? He has, I believe, been hurt a bit because of who he plays in front of. If you look at his fielding independent ERA, and I think this would also be boosted by playing at Busch Stadium, by year, 3.7, 4.1, 3.1, 3.2. He's a really good starting pitcher. And if you're able to unlock a little bit more with his arsenal, Angels aren't exactly the team that typically does that. I think you could get yourself a really solid number 2 or number 3 starter.
Mo's there. He can unlock it.
Yeah. Think about this. John Mozeliak was the guy they brought in to modernize things. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Detmers, because like you're right. Like when you take a deep dive on his numbers, like you peek under the hood, you look at just the ERA, strikeouts, it's all really good. And yet for some reason, he doesn't do it for me, and I don't know why. Maybe I just need to watch more of his starts. Like, I would see Cease a lot when he's with San Diego, and I'd see him a lot when he was a trade candidate with the White Sox. And, you know, I was a big Cease fan. I would have even given him the contract Toronto gave him this past offseason, and they're reaping the reward for it. Just something with Detmers doesn't do it for me, and I don't know what it is.
I think it's because we think of all the lefties. This is what I fell into. It's like the old thing of scouting in the NFL, where you look at the helmet and you're like, Texas Tech quarterback, that ain't going to work. Like, it's just not going to translate to the next level. I've seen a ton of dudes go there, have success, put up big numbers, and then they get to the NFL, it doesn't work. And I think that's what I was doing with Reed Detmers, where I'm just thinking about all the junk lefties that they've had for the Angels over the years, and I have no interest. Like, Tyler Anderson is the guy that comes to mind when I think of the Angels. And so, like, in my head, I can't get over, oh, he's just Tyler Anderson 2.0. And then you look at the profile, and it could not be more different. He literally, by the numbers, has the best breaking ball, most effective breaking ball of any starting pitcher in Major League Baseball so far this year. And that is not Tyler Anderson. He's also got a, relatively speaking, effective fastball. So, yeah, I think Detmers is a guy that I would have serious interest in at this year's trade deadline if the Angels are interested in making a move. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show for Ask Us Anything. Get to a couple more of these from the text line. From the 636, guys, in a battle of who could get the Trailblazers, does St. Louis or Kansas City have a better arena today for them to move to?
Kansas City.
I think KC.
It's just, and I don't even think it's
newer.
Yeah, it's newer, but it's also the schedule. I think teams are going to look at that and say, like, I get to make all of the scheduling around my team rather than have to deal with a hockey team that probably gets priority with the scheduling. So, yeah, I would say Kansas City.
How new is that arena?
2005, I think.
Okay. I couldn't remember when that thing was built. I know it's been
Blues
around.
the Enterprise has had more recent upgrades since then. Like they had upgrades in 20.
Yeah, but the actual infrastructure of it, it was 07 is when the T-Mobile Center opened in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I would give the edge to Kansas City as well. I agree with you guys on that.
That's just purely from an arena perspective.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was still that quote unquote young of an arena. But yeah, I would say Kansas City's the one that still would have the inside track. And as Bill Simmons said, the clip we played yesterday from his podcast, Kansas City has shown they can do big events, right? I mean, they have the Chiefs who are great, and then they just hosted the World Cup, and BK was down there and said the atmosphere there was incredible.
And they have massive contracts that concerts that go through there too, and I think that plays into it.
I will say my one hesitation with KC as an NBA town is this. I do wonder how it would do compared to Kansas basketball. KU basketball in Kansas City is the NBA team in town. Like Allen Fieldhouse fills up every single night for those games, and they are talked about in Kansas City as though it is an NBA team. And it's K-State, Kansas, and Mizzou are all huge deals in KC when it comes to college basketball. They host the Big 12 tournament every year there as well. So I just wonder if they would adopt the NBA the way that we think that they would, because it is kind of a college town. It's almost in that way similar to like Jacksonville for the NFL, where, yes, there are a ton of football fans in Florida, but a lot of them are college football fans more so than what they are with the NFL. Same thing for the Atlanta Falcons. There are Falcons fans in Atlanta, don't get me wrong. Huge Falcons fans. But Georgia is a college football state more so than the NFL. I would be curious to see how that would translate. The only other spots that are really like Kansas City in that regard are like North Carolina. Indiana has some of that where it's almost more of a college hoops state than it is an NBA state. But Indiana has a history with the Pacers more so than what Kansas City does with the NBA. So I do wonder about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I could see where it would almost have to be where it'd be like Indiana, where, yes, there are Hoosiers fans of basketball, but now it's just a read from my sense on the situation is now that Indiana's kind of gone into the darker days of Indiana basketball, they're more Pacers fans because they've got Halliburton. They were just in the finals. It might need to be one of those to where, like, when Bill Self retires, whoever it is that takes over Kansas, maybe they don't end up being the Kansas that we know. And maybe at that same exact time, the NBA team that's there is good. Then I could see where it becomes more of an NBA hub at that point.
Brad Thompson, Cardinals analyst, joins us coming up at 12:30. But next, it's time for our weekly conversation with the one, the only former NHL goalie, Mike McKenna, here on BK and Ferrario. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to go out to the Kiley and Thompson hotline for our weekly conversation with the former NHL goalie Mike McKenna. Joins us on behalf of Macadoodles each and every Friday here on BK and Ferrario. Mike, appreciate the time as always, man. How are the Finger Lakes treating you this week?
In New York.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I've already been on the lake today. I just made pizza dough. It's been great. You know, it's like water's like 72, and the temp outside has been anywhere between 80 to 83. So I love coming up here in New York State during the summertime. It's usually 10 degrees cooler. It gives us a little bit of break before we get back into the heat of it in St. Louis. So excited to get home, but it's been a really good trip with family.
Mike, if you had the choice, would you like to vacation at a lake, a river, or the ocean?
Oh, man, I love lakes. I really do. The ocean scares me. I mean, I love the sand. The salt water, though, the taste of it, I have a bad memory. Like, I got salt water in my mouth, and I think I puked. And then the only bad part about lakes, though, is just, man, anytime I'm in water that I can't see my feet, I really get nervous about it. But I take a lake day, man. You post up, have a couple drinks, put a mat out, and just soak up the sun. That's my type of day.
Yep. I don't look, if I don't know what's underneath me, especially if there might be like snakes or something underneath me. Yep. I'm out. I'm going to the lake no matter what.
You know my view on the ocean, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be chilling right over by the pool, overlooking the ocean. It's great. It's great, Mike.
You know what I do? I do it to where my toes get the water, and then I'm like, all right, that's enough ocean for me in this one. Mike, on the hockey side of things, I did want to ask you about a little news that broke a little bit ago today. Sergei Zubov was hired by the Blues as an advisor to hockey operations. Now, I'm not reading too much into this one, but I do think that's just another guy that you put in this inner circle with Alexander Steen that has tons of hockey knowledge. And I have to imagine for some of your younger defensemen, having a Sergei Zubov around is going to be pretty beneficial for guys like Juracek and Lindstein and others.
Absolutely. You're adding experience to the management side of things that not just management, but the playing side is a really important part of this. And, you know, Sergei Zubov to me this guy was a surefire Hall of Famer for a long time that didn't get the recognition he deserved. He's one of the greatest defensemen to ever play the sport, if you ask me. Stanley Cup winner, long tenure with the Dallas Stars. So there's a background there. And let's not forget, Doug Armstrong's still a really important part of the puzzle for the St. Louis Blues. He knows Sergei Zubov extremely well from their time together with the Dallas Stars. So there's a trust level there. There's a professionalism there. And Zubov, too, is, you know, in his mid-50s. This is a guy who for the next 10 or 15 years could bring real value to your franchise. He's also the reason why I couldn't wear number 56 in Dallas. So that was a tough go, fellas. I mean, they're going to retire his jersey and did, and they're like, Mike, sorry, we're going to have to go with a different number. And then they gave me 35, which was Marty Turco's number. And it's like, man, I felt like I needed to buy Turco a Rolex, but I couldn't afford that. So I decided to give him a Timex as a symbolic gesture. And I think he really appreciated it.
I was going to ask you, you're not trying to pay Dallas and Sergei Zubov to get 56? You just figured, no, not worth the time?
He's retired.
Not yet, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
He only had 1,000 games in the National, and it felt like about 900 of those were with Dallas. So sometimes. Well, the other guy that kind of hooped me though was Magnus Payarvi. Believe it or not, the old Blues forward.
What?
So I showed up. I signed with the Ottawa Senators, and there's like two guys in the league wearing 56, and Payarvi is one of them wearing 56. So I couldn't wear that in Ottawa either. Like, there's very few teams in the NHL I had any pick of the litter on the jersey I wanted to wear, and it was because of Sergei Zubov and Magnus Payarvi.
Was there a reason for 56?
Two guys that have never previously been mentioned in the same sentence before.
Never. Magnus appreciates that. Why 56, Mike?
It was my dad's racing number. Okay. There was a real famous driver years ago named Jim Hurtubise, who was really, really good at the Indianapolis 500, candy apple red car in the Roadster days. And my dad really liked the look of the number and how it would work on his bodywork for his race cars. And my dad was racing for Jerry Clinton with Gray Eagle Racing back in the day, and that was the big distributorship. They were sponsored by Budweiser. Paul Newman was around, and all these cool things. And he used 56. And so as I got older, it kind of dawned on me, and then my grandpa started to wear 56 as his hockey number. I realized, like, this is our family number. And it wasn't until my second year pro, and I was playing for the Las Vegas Wranglers in the ECHL, and it's like, honestly, who cares what number you wear at the AA level in Vegas? So it kind of gave me the confidence to be like, hey, I'd love to wear this. I think it'd be a fun tribute to our family. And so I didn't get to wear it a lot in the NHL, but in the American League, I did get to wear it in quite a few cities, and it just kind of became my number, and now my youngest daughter wears it for Kirkwood as well.
That's awesome.
We're talking to Mike McKenna here on 101 ESPN. Last question that I have on Zubov here. Do you think that the connection to Russia serves any significance for the Blues?
Maybe. I mean, you've got enough now, not just players, but prospects in the system that are going to have that. I think you're smart as an organization to have a really diverse group in your management. Having somebody of Russian background, that could make a difference because, looking at the Blues roster, which we're projecting this year, you may not have a big influence on the roster from Russian people. I mean, in the past, we've seen some more of that, but having somebody who can cultivate your young talent, especially when they're coming over, somebody to lean on that can head up that side of things, to me makes a big difference for a club. And, if you're looking at now you've got Zubov at the management level, you've got Torpchenko, who's a seasoned veteran in the NHL, who's kind of a mid-level. And as you're bringing along younger players now you've kind of got a three-tiered approach to it. So I think there's real value in that. I think there's real value in having Europeans in your system as well, because, I mean, Alex Steen, here's a GM from Scandinavia. That's powerful. And in today's world in the NHL, it's such a world game that I think it makes a difference to diversify it like that.
Are you thinking of a young left-handed Russian defenseman that played for the Carolina Hurricanes?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
I think I might be putting the cart a little bit before the horse here, but I mean...
speak for yourself.
No, we're right on it.
But I mean, if you're trying to create a parallel, like, hey, Mr. McKeeshan, you come on down, we got Sergei here. But I don't know. I think this is just a smart hockey hire more than anything. If there's residual effects of having a Russian national on staff, then so be it.
Talking to Mike McKenna here on 101 ESPN. Mike, the other question that I wanted to get to with you is just kind of looking at the competition that exists for this Blues team heading into camp. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, the amount of roster spots that are up for grabs and also playing time that's potentially up for grabs going into this camp. It feels like there are more of them this year than there have been in previous seasons. What is the one or two maybe that you're most interested in heading into camp, that you're most curious about?
Well, I really agree with you, especially the way last season finished. You had Otto Stenberg, who was knocking on the door, Theo Lindstein knocking on the door. Jack Finley was just a tremendous pickup off of waivers last year from the Lightning. That's an organization that really liked that player. And I think the Blues may have found, for virtually nothing, their fourth-line centerman that can play that role, and he may have a bigger responsibility this season. The guy that I'm really interested in camp, and I don't know if he's going to make the team, but I think he's going to make an impression, is Justin Carbonneau. We may not talk about him a ton, but this is from 2025, 19 overall. I mean, this guy's potted 46 and 51 goals in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League the last 2 years. And that's a league that you only play like 60 games. Like, he's almost scoring a goal a game in that league. He's a pure sniper. I'm not sure, again, that he fits on the roster. I don't think he's going to force his way onto the Blues roster without an injury. But there's a real opportunity to open some eyes in camp there. And that's the curiosity for me. Where does Stenberg end up? Does Lindstein make it, and is he a top six guy for the Blues? Because to me, Lindstein's going to make the team. It's just, where does he slot into this club? Those are kind of my two big storylines. I want to see Lindstein, and I'd really like to see what this Carbonneau guy can do.
What about Dylan Dubé, Mike? I mean, we were talking about him so much during the Thunderbirds playoff run and wondering if he was going to compete for a roster spot. How do you view a guy like that who has been out of the NHL game for a couple of years, but just had some success in the AHL coming into training camp?
Well, he can really play, and he's been able to really play in the past. Now, he didn't really cross over into being a difference maker for the Calgary Flames during his best seasons with that club. Just hovered between second, third line, could play upper minutes if he needed to. I honestly think for him, he may have an NHL contract in his pocket. And he did have a good season, not a great season, but a good season in the American League last year for the Springfield Thunderbirds. I don't see Dylan Dubé being a lock to make the team. I don't see him a lock to, even end up NHL full-time this season. But I do think if you're looking for somebody on a call-up that you need a veteran presence, he would definitely be there. Could he work his way into a role? Well, yeah. I mean, it depends where you're really going to see him here. I mean, is he going to play center? Are they more likely to put him on the wing if they need to? That can all happen. So I do think he's going to push. I don't think he makes it out of camp, but I think he's going to make a difference. And if he does, he might be the first call-up for the club.
He's Mike McKenna, joins us each and every Friday here on BK and Ferrario. Right now, he's up at the Finger Lakes in New York. And Mike, for anybody that maybe is taking a trip out to a lake later on today or this weekend, they want to grab some libations before they go out there, what can they expect when they walk through the doors out at Macadoodles?
Well, you want to get crunk on tequila today, fellas, because it is National Tequila Day. Hey!
T-Bone celebrating.
It is. So we got a special promotion going today. I mean, it's Friday. It's sample day at Macadoodles. You'll be able to walk in the door between 3 and 7 and get to try all kinds of spirits. So Bearwood Spirits will be there with their bourbons and rums from 3 to 5. Koval Gin will be there from 3 to 5. But 5 to 7, we've got Cascabel Tequila coming in. They're going to be sampling their Blanco, their coffee-infused, and their coconut-infused. Those are tremendous products from 5 to 7. You get to try those the whole time. We're also going to have Four Hands Brewing there with some of their newest fall brews. We even have pumpkin beers in the building already at the end of July. It seems crazy, but it's happening. But here's the big one. This is the deal of the day. Just today, being National Tequila Day, every bottle in our store of tequila that's over $50, 20% off. We're basically giving those bottles away. You know why? Because I want people to try this really good tequila and then come back, ask for some other suggestions, see what you like, and we'll be able to help you out at Macadoodle. So come see us. We're at the corner of Bryan and Feisey Road, just north of the Page Extension out in Darty and Prairie. I'm at the lake, but I'll be back next week, and I'll see everybody then.
He's Mike McKenna, joins us each and every week, even when he's on vacation.
Hell yeah.
Here on BK and Ferrario. Mike, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy yourself out there in New York. We'll talk with you again next week.
You guys have a great day.
Take it easy. That's Mike McKenna joining us here on 101 ESPN. Always appreciate his time here on the show. Are you a tequila guy, Alex?
Yeah, occasionally. It's not like the go-to one.
Are you a shooter, margaritas? What's your
yeah,
go-to?
it's more of a mix in drinks with margaritas and different varieties of them.
T-Bone, are you a tequila guy?
You know, to be honest, don't really know. Haven't really done much with tequila.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to try that Dwayne Johnson's tequila. I've heard it's like incredible, and that's the one that I've never had the chance to because it's expensive as hell.
I've been more of like a whiskey guy and just beer. I've never really done much with tequila.
Do you drink gin?
I've never really done it.
Really?
Like I would try it. I've never really tried it before.
Gin and soda, gin and tonic. That's like my go-to. Yeah. If I'm at a wedding, gin and soda with a lime.
Yeah, mine's always whiskey and Coke.
Yeah, that's what I do. When I'm at a wedding,
weddings
that's what I do.
is always whiskey and Coke or it's a martini.
Yeah, like when I went
martini.
Oh, wow.
You're getting real classy.
Yeah, well
Shaken, not stirred.
Sinatra used to do it, so I figured if he did it, I could do it.
Are you a dirty martini?
Yeah.
What's like olives? Everything?
Yeah, green olives in there. Are you kidding me? But you don't eat the olives until after.
Oh, of course.
Some people make the mistake and eat them
I've
first.
seen that.
You got to let them sit in there and then get it all afterwards.
Man, martini's like one of the only drinks that I just really don't have a whole lot of interest in.
It's a rare one, but it's one of those that like
bounce around the speakeasies. You'll be able to try them.
It's one of those where you're dressed up and you're listening to Sinatra and Dean Martin at a wedding, and it's like, I want one.
Yeah, I would just rather have a gin and soda.
I get it.
The botanicals in it, you know.
Man, you're not classy like Frank. I'm classy.
I don't like.
Sinatra.
Me too, man.
I don't like green or black olives.
Well, that's the problem. And that like is what the garnish is what makes the drink. So
no doubt.
Yeah.
T-Bone, we got to get you in on some tequila. Maybe you can head out there to Macadoodles today. Get yourself some tequila. We need to find a way
to get that Dwayne Johnson one. We can sit down and we can come on over to my house and drink it.
Have you ever done shots of tequila, T-Bone?
That's
lime, tequila, salt.
I've done a lot of those. You ever done body shots with tequila?
Well, if he's never done a shot of it, I'm going to guess he's never done one off of a body.
I don't know. T-Bone could have partied back at Lewis and Clark.
I did, but I didn't.
You ever had
tequila.
a fuzzy navel?
A what?
That's where you drink it out of the belly button,
Or a
T-Bone.
slippery nipple?
No.
Oh, I thought it was the buttery.
Buttery nipple?
Yeah.
You got both.
Yeah. You ever had a buttery nipple, T-Bone?
That sounds disgusting.
You should try it, man. It's pretty good.
I feel like you would actually like it.
I do too. He said no, and I'm like, I think you'd like
Irish
it.
car bomb?
No, never done.
Oh, yeah, that one would make me sick.
Did T-Bone really go to college?
No, not the kind of college we went to.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you know the kind of college I went to? Not really.
I could see T-Bone doing some fuzzy navels out of some co-eds.
T-Bone's going to turn 35 and like suddenly have a little more money next to his name, and he'll be a single guy, a little more money next to his name, and he's going to be
You're going to be Van Wilder.
Yeah.
You're going to be Van Wilder.
We're going to see him over off of the loop, and he's just like going bar crawling.
How that's going to be a good punishment. Somebody's got to go do belly button shots.
I mean, I don't think that's even a punishment. I'd do that.
If you told me I had to go up to some random person and do a belly button shot, that would be the worst punishment ever.
If I was T-Bone and I was single,
oh God,
that's fine.
if T-Bone did that.
It's a little different when you've got a wife, but
yeah, that's a specific T-Bone one. By the way, we do still need T-Bone to pay his punishments. We didn't forget.
Yeah, and I also owe you guys one.
What's yours?
We've got the ballpark challenge for T-Bone, and I still owe you guys a 6-pack of beer. Coming up in 15 minutes,
T-Bone's
Brad
calendar.
Thompson joins us here on BK and Ferrario. But next, these two teams might look like a match for the Cardinals at the trade deadline. I think one of them, though, makes way more sense than the other. We'll get into that next year on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's BK, and it is time for you to unlock your inner champion. The place to do so is with my friends over at Victory Men's Health. If they can do it for me, let's be real here, guys, they can do it for you as well. It's a really low bar to clear. I have been able to do this. They can do it for you as well. Book your first appointment online today at victorymenshealth.com. When you get over there, you'll be able to put in your name, email, phone number, tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you, and then you can book that first appointment. That appointment will include a consultation with a licensed medical provider. They'll check out where all of your different levels are at, and then they'll put together a personalized plan for you to unlock your inner champion. For some, that may mean testosterone optimization. For others, it's help with weight loss goals that they're trying to meet. Or maybe it's sexual health, red light therapy programs, micronutrient testing. They've got it all today at victorymenshealth.com. For me, it was their supplement shop that was able to help me out. I've got the packs ready to go for me in the morning. It's a super easy process. You can get started today at Victory Men's Health and online at victorymenshealth.com. It was a big update day over on The Athletic yesterday. If you want to hear full thoughts on this, check out the Redbird Report. YouTube.com/101ESPNSTL is where you can go to find it. Alex, they posted one piece by Ken Rosenthal on the Seattle Mariners, your team, your favorite squad. You always want to make trades with them.
Just like their pitchers, man.
And they
know how to
are
get pitchers.
apparently ready to make not only Luis Castillo, but also Emerson Hancock available at this year's trade deadline. Now, he has a ton of control, and if you look at the traditional metrics, boy, is he having a good year for the Seattle Mariners. It's been pretty darn impressive. 3.1 ERA. He's thrown more than 100 innings, and he's a guy who could potentially be a part of your future. Now, under the hood, there are some red lights there. And there are questions about whether or not this is going to be sustainable for Emerson Hancock. But again, the traditional numbers look pretty good for him. The Mariners are looking for a right-handed bat. They would really like to upgrade their lineup.
What about a left-handed bat?
My guess is Ivan Herrera would be the right-handed bat that would garner the most attention from the Cardinals. Maybe they believe Joshua Baez could be of interest as well. So let's set that aside for a second. That is the piece of this article over on The Athletic that got the most attention yesterday. I thought there was a different quote, though, from The Athletic and specifically Ken Rosenthal that was more noteworthy for the Cardinals. And it was kind of hidden within the piece because it was a little further down. It says the Angels, according to a person briefed on their pursuits, are interested in acquiring a young catcher. Now, they mentioned specifically Owen Ayers, a Cubs prospect who could be of interest to them. But they said both Soriano and Detmers are under control for 2 more seasons, and neither is certain to be traded under John Mozeliak. Neither one comes without questions, but it's possible that either one of them could go out the door, especially if they want to upgrade the catcher position long term. Well, if there's one position that the Cardinals have that they could trade from a surplus, it's catcher. I don't think that that player would be Ivan Herrera because John Mozeliak sure didn't seem all that interested in Ivan Herrera as a catcher while he was here. They made the decision to put Herrera back behind the plate when Chaim Bloom was introduced. That's when they announced that. So I'm guessing he's not the guy. But could Crooks or Leo Bernal be of interest to John Mozeliak? That, to me, I think is very much in play. Alex, when you hear both of these possibilities, the Angels, who specifically are looking for a catcher, and the Mariners, who are now interested in potentially trading Emerson Hancock to upgrade their lineup, do one of those stand out to you as potentially being interesting?
I think both of them stand out to be interesting. Now, the question is, for the Angels, what are you getting back in return? Is it the pitcher? Is it...
Yeah, you'd get Jose Soriano or Reed Detmers, most likely.
Yeah. I think I would go the Emerson Hancock route more than the Angels route. But giving up Ivan Herrera is a tough ask. But, man, like getting a 24-year-old pitcher who's got major league experience and that much control, I feel like matches the timeline perfectly of what you're trying to accomplish. Whereas, and how old is Soriano?
Like 27. I think all of these pitchers are the same age. And Emerson Hancock is also 27.
Oh, I thought he was 24. Did I look at that wrong?
He made his debut at 24.
Yes, okay, that's what I looked at.
Now.
Yeah, so 27.
Just turned 24.
Yeah,
or 27, excuse me.
So then I honestly, I think I would still go with Emerson Hancock just because of, one, the Cardinals' experience and expertise when it comes to the Seattle Mariners, and two, I just like the idea of getting pitchers from the Mariners system because of their experience with developing these starting pitchers. So that one would make more sense, but giving up Ivan Herrera versus giving up Jimmy Crooks or Leo Bernal is the part that makes it a little more difficult for me.
Would it change for you if Joshua Baez is the ask?
Yeah, I wouldn't do Joshua Baez.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd be more likely to give up Herrera than you would be Joshua Baez.
Yeah, because I think I got the replacement for Herrera in Reynel Rodriguez.
Oh, that's really interesting.
I mean, I know it could go poorly, but that power is something that I think the Cardinals still need in their lineup.
I would be more likely to give up Joshua Baez than I would be with Ivan Herrera personally, because I think there are a lot more questions about whether or not Joshua Baez long-term is going to be able to be what he has been this season at AAA. And by the way, he's gone on a big cold streak recently, and you're seeing some of those flaws being exposed at the AAA level. Imagine what that's going to be like at the major league level. But if you're the Mariners, you might be buying, hey, we think this guy's going to translate, and we think he can immediately become the power bat.
In that part.
Exactly. It can play anywhere, by the way, which is important here at Busch Stadium because it's suppressing power, especially from righties in a big way. But if you're them, maybe you say, hey, the upside there is so great that we'll buy into that. And if we're giving up Emerson Hancock, that stinks. But we've got 7 other pitchers in our system, plus the major league roster right now that we think are every bit as good. I would personally lean towards the Angels side. I would be more likely to give up one of Crooks or Bernal for Reed Detmers or Jose Soriano than I would be to buy into what Emerson Hancock has been this year. I just don't know how much I trust his profile. I think there are a lot more warning signs with him than there are the guys from the Angels. Also, I would be less likely to give up either Baez or Herrera than I would be to give up Crooks or Bernal.
I also just don't think Crooks and Bernal is enough to get one of those guys. I think you're having to add in something else. And
I don't know, man. I think you're underestimating how good they are as prospects.
Bernal's a top 70 prospect.
Yeah,
Bernal maybe,
prospect.
but Crooks, I think people have seen him now, and I think there's a little bit of I think there's a devalue that may have come into that. I just don't think that's enough to go get a pitcher, especially at a deadline for a starting pitcher that has control. I think teams ask for an absurd amount of return.
I think Bernal is the guy that could potentially get you him. The top 100 prospects just aren't dealt at the trade deadline. And honestly, they're not really dealt in general at this point, unless you're the Padres, in which case you're willing to deal them for anybody. But for most teams, you just don't get a prospect as good as Leo Bernal in this kind of a deal. And if the Cardinals are willing to discuss that, you're talking about a guy who's probably ready to be at the big league level right now if you're the Angels. And he's 22, 23 years old. You could build around him for the next 5+ season. And everything suggests this guy's both good offensively and defensively. He hits for contact. He hits for a little bit of power. He's a good game caller. He's a switch hitter. I mean, the profile is super interesting if you're a team in need of a catcher. The Cardinals just aren't in need of a catcher. And so he might not fit what they need long term. A pitcher might be more likely to do so. I'm not sure a 1-for-1 gets it done, but could you go Leo Bernal plus a lottery ticket prospect and, I don't know, maybe a bullpen arm or something? That, I think, could be the kind of package that gets it done for a player like Reed Detmers or Jose Soriano. And I would be interested in that for sure.
Yeah, I like Soriano more than Detmers.
I agree. But if you were going to do Detmers, I'm okay with that one too, right? I would much rather go the Angels route. I'm with BK on that because I just see that's trading from an area of strength, right? And then I get to bank on Joshua Baez and Ivan Herrera being here compared to if I were to go the route of trading for Hancock from Seattle. I probably have to part with one of those two, right? And though I understand there are risks with Joshua Baez's profile, me putting him in that number 5 spot and hoping he becomes the good version of Nolan Gorman, I'm worth trying to figure that out if that works here. Because what I said, and BK said it about his power playing in Seattle, that'll play here. Mm-hmm. And BK had the numbers about how much slug is being suppressed here at Busch Stadium. Yeah, I think it helps to keep both of them. So I would go more the Angels route. And I would personally try to move Crooks. I would rather try and bank on Bernal. But I think Crooks probably has lost not a ton of value, but a little bit of value now that he's been exposed here. Everybody's going to dream on seeing what he's doing at AAA, so he probably is one you have to part with.
And I think Bernal is slightly upgraded from Crooks in terms of prospect pedigree in general anyways.
Yeah.
So between the two, I just think Bernal probably has slightly more value. I did ask this over on Twitter, and you can vote in the poll right now as well. At BK Sports Talk, you make the call. If the Cardinals were to use their catching depth to make a deal at this year's deadline for controllable pitching, which trade would you prefer? Ivan Herrera to Seattle for Hancock, or Leo Bernal to the Angels for Jose Soriano or Reed Detmers? One of those two. 53% of the almost 1,000 votes said Herrera for Hancock, interestingly enough. I did not include Joshua Baez in this poll, but Herrera for Hancock or Bernal to the Angels.
I think that's a little bit of recency bias, too, to where you're seeing Herrera struggle. And look, that's not the sole reason why I would do it. I just think they're not going to use him as a catcher, and we've talked about this to where I think Burleson plays more into the future because he's a left-handed bat, and you don't have a lot of those. But I do understand that Herrera is like a major league player. He's been an all-star versus a guy that Baez is a lottery ticket. So the easier path, the path of least resistance, is trading one of these catchers that you have no value for. My just concern is I think you're giving up something else, and that's the part that I just don't know if I'm willing to do.
Somebody on the text line said, would you guys be interested in doing both of those deals?
Probably.
If you could do Bernal plus filler for one of Detmers or Jose Soriano, and you could do, let's call it Joshua Baez, just for this scenario. Baez for Emerson Hancock. Are you interested in doing both of those deals at this year's trade deadline?
I don't think I would do. I would only do one. I don't think I would do.
I'm not going to go through my entire pipeline like that.
Yeah, because
I think it's overkill, and I think then you're taking away too much from the offense potentially.
Yeah. Because I think you're going to need another bat for this offense whenever you're good again, and the hope is that it's Baez. But if I trade Baez, I mean, you're what? 2 years away from a real impact bat from being here potentially in Rodriguez, because it's not like there's this huge next wave coming from the position group. So
and you're sticking the wave. This is it.
And you're sticking with Nootbaar. Nootbaar is a part of your team now,
no doubt.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if that's where you want to be.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I would only probably do one of them.
Yeah, if you're going to do something like this, I think you need one pitcher at this year's deadline to help solidify that group, and then you're probably talking about the other pitchers either coming from within or being like a real headline kind of deal that you trade from your pitching surplus to go trade like a 3-for-1 kind of a situation where you go out and get your Garrett Crochet, right? That can truly lead the rotation. I'm not saying him, but the kind of deal that the Red Sox made this past offseason where they go out and get the superstar, that's the kind of thing that the Cardinals could be in position to do a year or 2 years down the road.
Got me all excited and then just give me nothing.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Brad Thompson joins us next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here. The Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals fell to the Diamondbacks yesterday 10-6. Tonight they start a 3-game set at home against the Cincinnati Reds. 7:15 will be first pitch. Dustin May will be on the mound for St. Louis. And the big news out of the NBA today, LeBron James signs a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to go out to the Kiley and Thompson hotline to be joined by Cardinals analyst for Cardinals TV. He's Brad Thompson joining us here on the show. I see it as each and every Friday. BT, what's good, man?
Guys, thank you for having me. It's such perfect timing. I'm joining you as I'm driving, which is not the best for an interview. My apologies on that.
Right,
but I am driving.
At least you showed up this week, BT.
Wow.
You know what?
Wow.
Didn't need it. Didn't need that at all. You know what? Actually, you're breaking up.
BT, real jerk move there, man. You volunteered last week, and BK told you to
I did.
shove it.
That's true.
Nope, that's okay. If you guys want to talk Royals baseball, BK, I know you got me. So I'll be ready for that. But I am driving over the Poplar Bridge, and I'm seeing the arch. I see Busch Stadium, and I see good things on the horizon today, boys. So I'm excited to join you. What's happening?
I've always heard that the Poplar Bluff Bridge is one of those scene grabbers when you get to St. Louis.
That's right. That's right. You go over that bridge, and again, only good things happen.
You feel like you're in St. Louis.
BT, let's talk about it. It ain't great lately. The offense has gone through it a little bit until, the ninth inning yesterday. The pitching has not been ideal. What have we learned about the Cardinals since the All-Star break in your mind?
Look, I don't know if we've necessarily learned anything since the All-Star break. I think what we are going to do is learn a lot about this young group down the stretch. I feel like these are some of the struggles that you knew you were gonna end up having. First of all, I do think with the Angels, and sometimes you got to give credit where credit is due. I feel like they ran into some pretty good pitching over there, especially the first couple of games. I want to get a Walbert Urena. I don't know about you guys, but I think that would be pretty nice to have something like that. But you're going to have this with this group. There's going to be volatility in the bullpen, and certainly we've seen a lot of that as of late. That was a really rough one from Matt Swanson last night in what was a very close, very winnable ball game until that 5 spot in the 8th inning. But I think that what we're going to learn down the stretch is, what do these guys, what do they get from some of the struggles? And there will be struggles. By the way, there's going to be some great times down the stretch for some of these young players as well. How do they deal with the long season, the ups and downs of it? This team has been a surprise to most to this point. So when times do get a little bit rougher, how do they react? How do they react in the room is going to be a big thing. And I've seen nothing but this team is putting in the work every single day, just like the same thing they talked about after big wins, big series, big start, whatever. It's like, hey, it's not about that. It's about the next day. They're doing the same thing when it comes to losses, whether they be a tough loss, one that gets out of hand early. This group does a really good job of just working on the day in and day out. But guys, make no mistake, there are going to be some struggles along the way.
Yeah, and BT, players aren't going to admit exhaustion or anything like that. That's not how they operate. It's day-to-day basis, and they grind through it. But we do know of the dog days of the summer. And specifically, do you feel like that's what's hit this bullpen in terms of just usage and the strength of this schedule and the season that you're going through? Or is there something else that has happened to the bullpen?
I think that each individual, even after an All-Star break, you're never fresh once you get to the middle of the season. And I think the Cardinal starters have actually done a better job than we give them credit for, of giving their bullpen a little bit of protection. I think that Dusty and Ollie and the entire staff has done a really good job of keeping everybody as fresh as possible. I'm telling you, this group could have been buried early if it weren't for the patience and the ability of Ollie and their staff to lay off some guys along along the way. Lay off a guy like Soriano instead of going 3 days in a row, or JoJo early. I know he's out right now with an injury, but a freak one with the appendectomy. I think they've done a good job of keeping that group as healthy and as fresh as they possibly can. So, yeah, like there's going to be some of the dog days. But at the end of it, it still comes down to, like, execution, because everybody's going through times, right? Everybody's going to be tired. Everybody's got young arms that are trying to prove themselves at the big league level, but everybody still has to figure it out and be able to get outs, right? And they're just trying to figure out who can do that, who is going to be able to step up for them along the way.
Hunter Dobbins got a lot of outs the other day, BT. What'd you think of him?
So, I've been impressed by Hunter the entire time. Like, he's got the arsenal. He's got good zip on his fastball. He has a very good grasp on, like, what he does and what makes him successful. I think he makes adjustments really well. And I do think he's another one of those guys that he puts himself right there in that conversation of, look, this guy's here. He's ready to help. And I was very glad. I hope, man, fingers crossed, I hope that they're able to keep him on the roster, at least get him another turn in this rotation, because he's earned it. He's deserved it. Now we'll see, how the pitching ends up holding up. I feel like that's Ollie alluded to that yesterday. That's going to be the biggest key is can they keep their pitching fresh enough to be able to keep him around. But he's proving to be one of those options that the Cardinals were looking for depth. They were looking for more high upside arms. And I feel like he's one of those guys. So I like how he's been used. I love the fact that he's been able to lengthen out this rotation, try to keep some other guys healthy along the way. Obviously, for him, he wants a lot more than that. We had an opportunity to interview him in-game last night, and I was trying to get into, like, hey, how do you feel like this whole season has been for you? Because obviously there's been the ups and downs to the big league level, but just kind of about his progression. And then rudely, the Cardinals were able to turn a double play and got out of the inning, so didn't get a chance to get into it fully. But I feel like for him, it's been a great opportunity. Anytime you get traded, a team wants you. You know that there's going to be plenty of opportunity, especially from a pitching standpoint in this organization this year and for years to come, man. So I like what they have in Dobbins.
BT, another question that I wanted to ask you about was on the offensive side of things. And, man, I looked into some of the numbers yesterday on the home road splits. It's crazy with the Cardinals this year. And I'm not saying like they're a bad hitting team at home. Their numbers are just bad. And what I mean by that is like the batted ball metrics are basically the same, whether they're at home or on the road. And Busch Stadium, whether it's the Cardinals or the opposition, is suppressing offense in a huge way. And it's played more towards pitchers for a while now. But this season, it's literally the worst home run hitting ballpark in all of Major League Baseball. Have you talked with anybody around the club on what's going on and why it's suppressing offense like this year?
Yeah. We were talking to Ollie about it, and it's been brought up multiple times throughout the year. We were talking to him before the All-Star break about it. He's like, man, I don't have a definitive answer for it. They don't have a definitive answer for it. Look, we all know that this ballpark is going to suppress some offense. The ball does not fly here like it does in other places. But to your point, it's not like they're just not hitting the ball in St. Louis at all. Like the ball's just not carrying. They're not being able to score runs. That being said, when you play 81 of your games here, you better figure out ways to generate some offense along the way. And that's where some of the timely hitting, that's where some of the small ball stuff comes in, your ground ball to the right side. I thought that the Diamondbacks last night in our ballpark did a really good job of manufacturing. Yeah, there was, the big swing of the bat. Locklear had the 2-run homer down the line. That one hurt, but they manufactured really well. I feel like that's kind of what you're going to have to do in this ballpark. But when you got some of your guys that are struggling, Herrera's been a guy as of late struggling, and you're going to plug him in the 2-hole pretty much every single time that he's in there. He's earned that. The bottom of the order hasn't done exactly what you want it to do. Your offensive numbers overall aren't going to look great, but certainly at home we got to figure out different ways, man. There's not one answer roster. I do know this. You're not going to out-homer people at home. Like, that's just not how you're going to win ball games. And it's going to be interesting in this series with the Reds coming in. As you guys know, the Reds are a team that they score over half their runs via the long ball. The long ball, hard to come by at Busch Stadium. So who ends up figuring out ways to manufacture? Who plays a cleaner style of baseball? And which one of these teams bullpen step up? Because they have both been, when you're looking in terms of ERA, both have had their struggles.
Out of curiosity, BT, how hard is that, though? Like, if you're a hitter, let's just go with that side of things, and
sure,
you're on the road, and these guys are so process-oriented, right? And they have the same kind of batted ball numbers on the road that they do at home, and they're getting results for it when they go on the road. And they've been a good hitting team on the road this year. And then they come home, and it's the exact same style of at-bat, and they're putting the ball in play the same way that they did on the road, but you're just not getting rewarded for it at home the way that you have been on the road. How difficult is that to get through your head? Like, hey, we kind of have to approach things a little differently at home when we're playing here compared to when we go on the road.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard. And look, the human nature part of you, and probably what is preached, to be honest, is stick with the process, right? If you continually hit the ball hard, the good things are going to happen. Now, the home run's not going to magically appear. The ball does travel different, as we said. But if you consistently are squaring up baseballs, if you're happy with all of your StatCast numbers, right, whether it's exit velocity, hard hit ball, whatever, like if those things are consistent, you have to believe that at some point the results are going to come out in the wash. So to that point of totally trying to revamp things when you're at home as opposed to on the road, I think it's virtually impossible. What you need to be able to do, though, is in situations you got to be able to cash in, and you just know that your opportunities are going to be fewer with the fact that the ball doesn't fly out of the ballpark. And that's a tough one too, right? 'Cause you don't want to put all the pressure in the world on your shoulders in a given at bat, but you realize that you're playing under some tight windows, and the pitching staff knows it. Like you know, as a pitching staff, that there are going to be some tight games, so you feel like every pitch has to be perfect as well. So, I think it's a great point, BK. Like, you can't just totally change what you're doing, but you really have to capitalize on opportunities.
Do you think, BT, that's a little maybe of what Ivan Herrera has been going through these last couple of weeks, of maybe the mental side of things and trying to figure out your swing and what's gone wrong, on top of how much he's been used this season?
I think it could be a few things for him. Like, one, I don't worry about him offensively. I feel like he's proven that he's going to be okay. But he is like anybody else, he wants to perform at the highest level. So it's maddening for him. So even if he is tired, he finally got a day off, which that didn't happen all season long, and I'm sure he didn't want it to happen. But at some point, you got to be able to get that guy off his feet. Maybe that ends up helping. But even in those days, like, those are work days for him. So I don't think that he beats himself down mentally of at home, on the road. I do realize that he's an over 800 OPS guy on the road. That is significantly down at Busch Stadium. But I don't think that he personally is focusing on that. I don't think you can. When you've had success at the big league level, you stick to your process. When the opposition starts taking advantage of you as opposed to the elements, I think that's where you end up wanting to make your adjustments.
All right, BT, we'll get you out of here on this one for no real reason. What'd you think of Reed Detmers the other day?
Well, it sounds like there's a real reason there. I like Reed Detmers. I don't know if I told you already. I'm a big fan of Walbert. Get me one of them. That'd be pretty good. I like him. I like Jose Soriano. I like him as well. I like all of those guys. No, Detmers was great. Look, this is a guy, what is he, 27 years old. Yep. He knows how to pitch. He uses his stuff very well. Doesn't have to be 99, 100. No, I like it. I like this stuff. The big question, again, you're not asking this for any reason in particular, but when do the Cardinals believe, or, a team in the Cardinals position, when do they believe their area to truly strike is? Like, do they believe it's 2027? Do they believe it's 2028? Is it further down the line than that? Like, that's when those type of teams are making decisions as to, okay, well, we have a starter that's got 2 more years of control. Is that the case for Detmers? Do you have 2 more years?
2 more beyond this year.
Okay, so I mean, those are those decisions, right? Do we give up some young talent to get a guy that has 2 more years of control, because are you ready to compete in that year? Now, just looking at the Cardinals in their nucleus, and look, they're in the thick of things in the wild card right now, but like truly ready to like go, I think 2028 is a really like good visual for them. Some of this young talent that has come through the organization, all of the pieces that they have acquired over the last few years, all of the pieces that they're very likely to acquire here in the upcoming weeks potentially. I feel like that is a good landing spot. But do you want to add at the back end of those deals with a guy like Detmers or Soriano, whoever, like pick who you want to pick? That's where the guy in the big office has a lot of big decisions to make.
No doubt about it.
What do you guys think about Detmers? You want him?
I like him.
I like Soriano
more
more
so than the rest of the guys on the show. I got to tell you, BT, I think it's kind of some logo scouting that I've done in the past where I hear, okay, lefty for the Angels, Tyler Anderson, and that's what comes to mind. And then you look up the numbers for Reed Detmer, and it couldn't be more opposite. He's like a swing and miss, chase, strikeout guy, and that's just not the profile that I was anticipating. So I'm into it. I think it'd be super interesting. And now there's some reporting that's come out that they're in need of a young catcher. And, man, you talk about a team that's got a lot of those. The Cardinals certainly would seem to fit that bill.
Yeah, I got a feeling that there's going to be a lot of phone calls, and I'm sure already have, coming the direction of Chaim Bloom and his entire front office staff. Going to be a fascinating couple of weeks here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. BT, enjoy the game tonight, man. Hopefully they're able to get this thing in with the rain that's supposed to come in our way. We'll talk with you again next week.
All right, don't say the R word. I'll see you later, dude.
Take it easy.
Have a good one.
It's Brad Thompson joining us as he does each and every week here on BK and Ferrario. Certainly appreciate his time here on the show. You guys, if you had to rank them, Reed Detmers, Emerson Hancock of the Seattle Mariners, and Jose Soriano, is that right? Mm-hmm. How would you rank them 1 to 3 in terms of your interest? Set aside for a moment at least what you'd have to give up, but just those 3 pitchers for the Cardinals, how would you rank them?
I think I'd go Hancock 1, Soriano 2, Detmers 3.
I'd go Soriano 1, Detmers 2, and Hancock a distant third.
We have the same top 3, T-Bone. I'd go Soriano 1, Detmers 2, and Hancock third. And I think he's pretty far below the other 2 for me personally. I get the rationale, though, Alex, of, hey, I trust the Seattle Mariners pitching development. Mm-hmm. And maybe, like, the underlying stuff says it's not great right now. It very well could be really good here in a couple of years, though. I mean, there have been times in the past, like, you would look at whether it's George Kirby or Logan Gilbert or Brian Wu, and the numbers, you'd look at it and be like, I mean, I don't know, that's not that impressive. And then you look at it now, and you'd take any of those 3. They'd be awesome starters for the St. Louis Cardinals. Yep. So there is something to the idea of a team that's just really good at developing pitching. The Rays were that for a number of years. The Guardians have been that in the past. And the Mariners kind of might be taking over that moniker as the number 1 pitching pipeline in Major League Baseball right now. Yeah. So I get the trust.
And it's the familiarity, too, of people in the Cardinals front office and working there. I don't know. I like that. And a lot of mine could just be the Angels. Like, I see the logo and I just don't trust it. Like,
also fair. They've earned that.
I mean, it's just, yes, fair, but it's also like probably not the best thing to do when you're trying to look for talent. Like, there might be great pitchers that are in the Angels organization, but you see it and it's like, nah, I don't trust that.
You are with them the way that I am with Carolina Hurricanes defensemen.
Yeah.
Where I look at it and I'm like, I don't know, man. Buyer beware. Yep. It works there, but I don't know that it's going to work elsewhere.
Yeah.
Coming up in 15 minutes, Kiley McDaniel says this is the Cardinals prospects that they should sell high on. I'll tell you who that is coming up in just a little bit. Junk Drawer coming up next here on 101 ESPN. Alex, do you have anything that you do in your spare time that, like, you just don't really talk about publicly because it's kind of embarrassing?
Like put on makeup and dance or something?
Know that I like where this is going. What are you about to admit over there,
No, I
Brandon?
don't think so. I don't think there's anything.
You don't, watch TV shows?
No, I hate.
You don't eat in the bathroom?
Well, I used to do that in high school. I used to put a bowl of cereal on the back end of the toilet and sit the opposite direction so you could eat and... You guys never did that before?
No. Okay, so what turns out because
so
he's not the first one to admit something weird.
What you do is you got your toilet.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I just never done that before.
And you just... In the morning when it's 6 a.m. and
I have so many follow-up questions for the dad pod that I would like to ask.
I don't know what follow-up questions do you have, man? It's like sleeping in a shower in the morning. Like, sometimes you just got to do
normal.
it. I think it is, man. You have a bowl of oatmeal. Why? It's like it's going in and it's coming out. What's the deal?
I can't tell you that I'm proud of what I'm about to say, but, man, I'm really into these dating shows. These reality TV dating shows.
Should we make sure Kara's not listening to this first?
So, Love is Blind, you guys know my interest in that.
You're into trash television.
I recently have come across the other Nick Lachey reality TV show that I was unaware of. It showed up on our Netflix algorithm because you know who I am the other day. It's called The Ultimatum.
Real quick,
heard of this?
Nick Lachey, who did he sing for?
No idea, but I
no
just saw this show
chance.
pop up on Netflix on my feed. Yeah.
Okay, I got to
I
tell
don't
you.
know why it popped up on my feed because I don't have this guilty pleasure.
It's a super compelling premise. So basically, like, there's a couple that they've been together for a long time, and one of them says to the other, I'm giving you an ultimatum. It's either give me a ring or we're walking away.
And
that's
so
healthy.
life.
On the show,
That's real healthy.
on the show, it's basically wife swap. So they go on this show and they get like test marriages for 3 weeks.
Thought you meant something else, tests. And I'm like,
No.
whoa, that's weird.
So they like swap wives with some of the other
STD.
couples. There's 6 couples that start, and then they go through this process. And for 3 weeks, they get to be a partner with somebody else, and then they get to be a partner with their own partner and find out which one they liked more.
It's just like, what is the interest in this?
I don't know, but I can't stop watching.
Just like
I can't stop watching.
Everything you're explaining to me is like, God, this sounds miserable.
I haven't done Love Island yet, but I think I'm interested. You guys know my interest in Big Brother, a little different, not a reality TV show that's specifically about dating, but I'm obsessed. I think I have a problem. I don't know how to stop watching these things.
I used to watch these.
It's terrible, but it's great.
I used to watch these in high school. I don't know if you remember. You probably don't remember this, Steve, because you were too young. Do you remember Room Raiders on MTV?
Oh, yeah, great.
That is
Great
what
show.
I used to be obsessed with.
Do you remember Next?
Next and Eliminate.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Eliminate was one to where, and I forget the premise of it, but I think it was
on like MTV.
Yeah,
I think
back in the day when MTV was like a
No, there was one called Date My Mom, too, where you had to take the girl's mom out on a date to find out which girl you wanted. Those were when I was obsessed with them because it was MTV. You're in that high school era, and I used to watch them all the time. Now it's like, I guess when you're married and you find that special someone, it's like, man, I don't care about any of this. I actually would hate watching and be like, this is dumb.
Oh, I do.
I was going to say, because I watched The Bachelor, or no, it was The Bachelorette about 4 years. I think I told the story on air. Remember the girl that went to Lindenwood?
Texted her,
that I watched and I messaged her.
she's back.
And then we didn't finish the whole series, and she got back with them. And I'm like, I just ished on this guy in a Facebook message. But I watched that with Katie, and I'm like, God, these people are so stupid. That's why I just can't watch it.
Somebody, Cat Dad Gamer over on the YouTube stream says, BK, those types of shows are for the worst of people. That is not something to brag about watching. Just to be very clear, this is not me bragging.
Yeah,
No,
it's
he
a
said
guilty pleasure for a reason. He said guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I definitely do not have any pride in the fact that I have fallen for these shows. They're awful television.
Yeah.
Awful. They play to the worst of people. I can't imagine what has to be going on in your life to say, you know what we should do, Alex? We should go on a TV show where we swap wives.
Yep.
Like that seems like there's got to be something a little cuckoo in your head.
These games feel like almost like psychological experiments,
It's
right?
not healthy. It's not a healthy
are.
relationship.
Now, Love is Blind, I feel a little different about because at least if you're going there, you are, at least in theory, single. And you're going there to find
almost like
somebody.
a-
But you're going there to hook up.
Sure,
You're going there to hook up with people.
Why is that any different than like
Tinder.
getting on Tinder?
Yeah, I was gonna say all
Right.
that is it's just a smaller, condensed version of Tinder.
But that's why, like, I wouldn't survive in the dating world today because to me that just seems pointless.
Agreed. This is way worse to me. You go there with your girlfriend. Some of them have been together for years.
That's ridiculous.
Some of them have been together for as many as 10 years, Alex.
Oh.
And they're going on this show and saying, hey, you're not willing to commit to me, so I'm going to try a relationship with one of these other girls that showed up for 3 weeks. We may, have
that's dumb.
relations, and then we're going to get back together for 3 weeks to find out which one I liked better.
My significant comes to me and says we're going on this
Crazy.
show. I'm saying, no, let me save you the trouble. We're breaking up before we go on this show. That's dumb. And hey, man, again, guilty pleasures are guilty pleasures. Everybody has them, and everybody has them at some point in their lives.
Oh, parental control. Somebody brings that one up.
Parental control.
That one was good.
Yep, loved that one.
That one was good.
Yeah.
T-Bone, you'll never understand what it was like to grow up in the 2000s.
This was like dating life for us. So like I watched it and I was like, oh, that'd be cool to go on.
And MTV was like, I guess at the back end, because I can remember some of my friends talking about some
MTV
stuff
was
on MTV,
probably like,
but like
it was post the peak years of it.
Do you remember MTV's TRL Spring Break Edition?
Yep. Yeah, I used to watch it all the time.
Where they would go down to like Panama City Beach, and there would just be these like
all the celebrities
it's basically
and bands.
Girls Gone Wild, but it happens to be on cable television for teenagers.
Do you remember when you'd watch like Comedy Central at 10 o'clock at night and then the Girls Gone Wild commercials would come on and your mom would randomly walk in your room and be like, what the hell are you watching? Be like, I promise it's a commercial.
They're selling the VHS, Mom.
I'm not watching it, Mom. It's like, God damn, I got caught.
VHS.
Yeah, VHSs. T-Bone, you remember those?
No, he does not.
I remember we had one, but I don't remember
still
what all we
have.
had it for.
Well, Katie still has. Katie kept a lot of them. There's like a room in her basement that's full of just VHSs and DVDs.
Oh, man.
Most old
Somebody
thing I can
says
call back is TiVo.
Flavor of Love.
Flavor of Love. I didn't watch
that
those
was a good
because I
one.
never liked Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
That's like with God, what's his Bret Michaels. When you were like they were dating Bret Michaels, I never got into that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, never got into
We watched
those.
that one too. I guess this has just always been a thing for me.
I was never into.
I'm starting to learn something about myself.
Yeah, it's fair. I never got into like the dating the celebrities. That just never clicked for me.
I don't know. Something about it. It just does it for me.
It
man.
hits you in the right spot, eh?
That's right.
Well, you and Kara should go on that show.
No, God, no. I would never do it myself. Also, I'm not interesting enough. But
That's for me.
boy,
I'm too boring.
They're addicting. We keep watching it. Last night I went to bed at like 1:30 because I was just stuck watching this show while I was doing laundry.
Holy cow.
That's
Hey, T-Bone, you have no reason.
Oh, I went to bed before 1:30 last
T-Bone was
night.
codding with the
Gaming
boys.
with the boys until 5.
You're
Well,
codding
on
with the
Friday.
boys.
Not a day when I got to go to work.
You're codding with the boys, man.
Coming up next, an ESPN.com analyst says this is the Cardinals prospect they should try to sell high on. I'll tell you who that is next here on 101 ESPN. Over on ESPN.com earlier today, Kiley McDaniel says there's a Cardinals prospect that they should sell high on, Alex. Mm-hmm. That prospect is none other than Joshua Baez. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Do you agree with that, Alex? Should the Cardinals look to potentially sell high on Joshua Baez before, or if you believe he's going to lose value at the major league level?
I would say no, but I can totally understand where he's coming from because of the slump that you're going through and how, if you're already striking out in AAA and to get to the major leagues, if you think it's going to play, I totally get it. I wouldn't, because I'd try and bank on that power because I think it's something you need in your lineup.
Yeah, I wouldn't try and sell high either. I understand that this definitely screams kind of Nolan Gorman-esque, right? Where, like, when it looks good, it sure looks great. But, man, when he goes cold, he looks awful and strikes out a lot. I think that's the kind of bat they need in their lineup, right? I think they need a right-handed power bat that can hit in that 5 spot that's got, like, 30 homer upside, So I'm willing to try and live through some of the struggles. Can he be, like, your version of, like, Suarez of the Cincinnati Reds, right? Strikes out a lot, hits like 220, but man, he hits 40 home runs. Like, I'm willing to hope for that. Yeah, Schwarber gets on base more. I'm looking more for a guy that just doesn't get on base a lot, but man, just slugs and can hit like 30 home runs. And at the end of the day, you look back on it and go, yeah, all right, he was only like 10% above league average, but man, those 30 home runs sure were sexy. I wouldn't sell high on him. I think you're not in a spot as an organization, honestly, to be selling high on him. I think you have to try and see if he flames out here first.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, are those now the rarity in Major League Baseball? Like, can you be that guy where you strike out a ton, have a really low average, and still get yourself to 30-plus home runs? I mean, how many guys in Major League Baseball are really doing that nowadays? It feels like a very rare profile. I think it did become like an in vogue thing in the mid-2010s to like early 2020s. But I think now, like, you look at the guys that are leading Major League Baseball in home runs this season. I'll read you off the batting average for the players in the top 10, okay? 330, 250, that's Kyle Schwarber. He's an outlier in every possible way. He also gets on base 36% of the time. 260, 280, 285, 270, 270, 275, 285, and then 220 for Colson Montgomery with the Chicago White Sox. It's really basically just Montgomery. And then if you go further down, the only players this year with more than 20 home runs that are hitting below like 240 on the season are Colson Montgomery, who I mentioned there, Manny Machado, who is different in this scenario, in my opinion, because he's
old and selling out for power.
Okamoto with the Toronto Blue Jays, who came over this offseason from Japan. And that's it, man. Like, I don't. If you think Joshua Baez is going to be a 240-ish hitter at the major league level, if you also think he's going to hit for 30-plus home run power, you would be betting on him being a huge outlier in Major League Baseball relative to the new standards that currently exist in the sport. And he may be. Like I said, they exist. Like, Colson Montgomery is that guy right now. It's just a rarity. There are not a lot of players that profile the way that he potentially is going to. And I think we saw the pitfalls of that with a guy like Nolan Gorman for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and I think, like, Schwarber's the one that you can be that. You got to hit 40-plus home runs to be a mainstay in the lineup.
You've got to get on base at a really high clip. Schwarber is an unbelievable guy when it comes to his plate discipline for walking.
Yeah.
He is like Lars Nootbaar in that regard, where his on-base percentage is always about 12% higher than his batting average, which helps to supplement the really low batting average for him.
And I do think it's a rarity because unless you have safety net for those players of other guys who can provide power and get on base and can create runs, then you could keep that one in there. But when you become a team that lacks power and you look to that one player to save you, which for the longest time was what Nolan Gorman was. When Jordan Walker wasn't hitting for you and you didn't have J.J. Weatherholt of guys getting on base, you looked towards Nolan Gorman and said, yeah, but if he could hit 40 home runs, we'll be in a great spot. And we felt good because he could hit 25, 26 with those long droughts in between, because they didn't have any other power. But when you have something else, you look at it and you say, yeah, but what else are you providing this team?
Yeah, I think that's why you're better positioned to try and keep him and see if you can make it work here at the major league level, is because when he gets here, he's the fifth best hitter already on the, well, you hope he's the fifth best hitter already on your team, because you've already got your top four already figured out, right? You don't have to try and put him in a spot where he's not being asked to do more. Like as a 5-hole hitter, I think you're looking for either a guy that can really hit for contact, kind of like what Burley is to an extent, or you're looking for someone to just slug like crazy. And I think that's what you're looking for in Baez. So I think it's okay to try and take this risk on him. And I would also add that you take this risk on him, and yes, he will lose value if he doesn't perform. If he doesn't hit, guess what? I got Rodriguez as the next one that comes up and hopefully can kind of fill that spot if he kind of flames out. I just don't know that you're in an organization or at a spot in your life cycle as an organization to be trading this kind of potential power to go out there and add something that would help you, but not necessarily help you towards winning for the now because you're still like 2 or 3 years away, as BT said.
To go back from a year ago, guys that had at least 30 home runs and hit under 240. For context, there were a total of 32 hitters in Major League Baseball that had at least 30 home runs last year. Among them, 7 had a 240 average or below. Here are those players: Willie Adames, Salvador Perez, Spencer Torkelson, Trent Grisham, Taylor Ward, Joe Adell, and Eugenio Suarez. I'd have to go through to look at this specifically, but anecdotally speaking, I think all of those guys are having below average offensive seasons this year. So it's also the kind of thing where you can have those peak years like those guys did a year ago, but then you're also very likely going to have regression seasons. So you're going to have the peaks and valleys with a profile like this that you just have to be okay living through. And I don't know how much Cardinals fans are really interested in living through those peaks and valleys, given what we've experienced in the past with like Brandon Moss or Nolan Gorman or other like Paul DeYoung, guys that have those peaks and valleys. People want them out of the lineup and sent away the moment that they start to go through the valleys. But you have to live with those if you're going to also bank on the power that comes along with it. So I'm really curious to see the way that they handle somebody like a Joshua Baez. I think there's a real case to be made that he should be the kind of player that you cash in while he has the highest possible value. And that may be right now. I don't think they will do it at the trade deadline. But what if they decide not to call him up this year, keep him down in AAA for the remainder of the season? Maybe he goes on another heater down the stretch. They may cash in the offseason. You know, maybe you include Leo Bernal, Joshua Baez, and one of your pitching prospects to go get something that really helps your major league roster, either pitching-wise or position player-wise in the offseason. I could see something like that making sense for them.
Yeah, it would make sense. You have to really know your player and know you're not making a mistake because, man, he goes somewhere else and goes off. That's going to be a bad look for Heim early on in this rebuild that I don't know if you come back from.
Could, unless you get a really good player in return. Like, you're not just going to give up on him for nothing. You know, you could go out there and get, you know, your version of, I don't know. I mentioned earlier today Garrett Crochet. I don't think you're getting a Garrett Crochet level player with the package that I just mentioned, but what if the Mariners don't win the World Series this year and in the offseason, that's the kind of thing that gets you Brian Wu? Or that's the kind of thing that allows you to get George Kirby, right? That to me would be a super intriguing move for the Cardinals.
But what if you lack off any power beyond Jordan Walker? And let's say Walker regresses a little bit, and now he's hitting Baez 30-plus bombs for the Seattle Mariners. You've got a pitching staff in place, but now we're asking the same question of where's your offense?
I would be saying this. I got one wrong. All right, I got to go back to my next swing. Like you're gonna get him wrong, right? You can't just shrivel up and say I got to be afraid to make moves like Mo did. That was the problem with Mo. Mo made the one move and he traded away Rosarena and then said, "I'm done making trades."
But you don't do it with a top prospect early in the first year of your rebuild,
unless like BK's saying, they don't believe in that profile. I mean, I think that's possible. I mean, because there are legitimate
I think there are reasons to be super concerned about Joshua Baez.
I'm not disagreeing with you there.
I don't think this is as much of a guarantee as people are maybe portraying it to be. I think it's more likely than not that Joshua Baez is an average to below average bat at the major league level. I think that's a very likely scenario here where he becomes a 25 home run hitter that strikes out 30 to 35% of the time, and you leave it saying, okay, we've got a 220 hitter here that, yeah, he hits for pop, but when you look at the OPS plus, it's like a 105 or a 95, depending on the season. And what's the value in that? Is that more valuable than what you could potentially get in him if you get for him, rather, if you were to package him with somebody else to get a big-time pitcher or a big-time position player? And if you go out there and make that move and you're able to get somebody that is a 20% above league average hitter for Joshua Baez, and yeah, Baez goes on to be good, but not great, well, then you won the deal. You know, like I think there is every rationale to consider a move like this, either at the trade deadline or as we get closer into the offseason. I don't know, man. I know nobody wants to hear about this because he's the next guy. He's the one that everybody's excited about because we have not seen him fail yet. Jimmy Crooks was that guy 2 months ago. And guess what? He came up. It's been, I would say, disappointing compared to what a lot of people were hoping for so far. That doesn't mean he's going to be a failure, but so far it has not gone as well as people would have liked. That very well could happen with Joshua Baez. The only reason we're not talking about that way right now with Baez is because he's failing at Memphis instead of here. If we were seeing it every night, what's going on right now down in Memphis with his numbers, guys, we would be talking about sending him back down to AAA already. Because his last month has been a disaster with what he's produced offensively. So I find the idea proposed there by Kiley McDaniel to be super interesting. It's something I was talking about, 6 weeks ago now? As do you cash in on the prospect capital that you have here? It would not be a popular move, but it's the kind of thing that I think could potentially make some sense for the Cardinals and for Chaim Bloom. All right, alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. In about 10 minutes, we're going to get into One's Gotta Go. You give us 4 different options. We'll tell you which one's got to go here on 101 ESPN. But next, it's a big start today for Dustin May. Not only for him, but for what the Cardinals are going to do with their bullpen over the next few days. We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So it's a big start today for Dustin May. He's on the mound for the Cardinals, and they've got some decisions to make here. Alex, he's been terrible for a month. We know the story with him. Had that complete game, and ever since has not looked the same for the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't know if that's his body's not responding well, his stuff isn't playing as well, whatever the case may be. It's not working. And so he needs to go out there and have a good start today for the Cardinals, both for their sake, for his sake, and for the trade deadline's sake. What do you think is the biggest consequence of today's start? And I'll let you take this in any direction, Alex, whether it's for the pitching staff, for Dustin May's future here in St. Louis, for where the Cardinals find themselves prior to the trade deadline. What is, to you, the most consequential aspect of this?
I think it's just the trade value of Dustin May. I have to believe that the Cardinals are looking at this as, look, we'd like to get something for Dustin May at the trade deadline that outbids, what the compensation pick would be if you QO him. And so without Dustin May performing, nobody's going to offer you much. And then you have to make that decision if you're the Cardinals of, do we trade him for pennies on the dollar to just get something? Or do we just keep him and say we're going to pay him $23 million next year? That really feels like it's – and honestly, I don't even know how much this one dictates it, because I kind of think baseball views Dustin May this way already, to where, let's say he pitches well in this one and gives them 7 innings and doesn't give up any runs and have some strikeout stuff. I think more people are going to be hesitant because of what the previous 6 starts have been versus what one start here is. But that would be my only consequence if you're the Cardinals is, look, man, if we don't get the start from him, the trade value is just not going to be there for us.
Yeah, I think it's more in the short term the start means for Dustin May. And what I mean by that is what it does to the Cardinals' pitching plans. Because they clearly want to keep Hunter Dobbins up here, but if May gets shellacked again and goes like 2 or 3 innings, it's going to be hard to make that happen. They're pretty thin in the bullpen now to where they may need to make a roster move today. They had, Swanson's unavailable, Graceffo's unavailable. Those are your 2 length guys typically out of your bullpen. So if May goes short, I don't know how they're bridging the gap on this game.
Because you got to go to your leverage guys.
Yeah, they'd have to cover multiple
call somebody
innings.
Up.
Exactly. So maybe they have to make that move today, and then what I'm saying here doesn't really play, because I agree with what Alex said. I think his value's already been determined by baseball. I don't think 1 or 2 good starts really kind of skyrockets it a lot. I think teams have a good idea of what they're going to have to give up for him at this point, and that's not a lot. You have to view him as essentially a rental because he's got a mutual option, so teams will view that as a 1-year contract left over. So I think his value's already been determined. So I think this start tonight is more about, can he pitch well enough to allow them to keep Dobbins up here, or do they have to make a roster move?
I hope they've made roster moves already. We don't know it because they haven't opened up the locker room just yet. That'll be probably later today during the fast lane, so I'm sure they'll have any news if it's going to come. But I think Swanson should be sent down today. He just hasn't been good. I know that there's a lot of people have been trying to sell me on there's the before and after thing with Swanson. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I would love to. I think it'd be great for the Cardinals if there was a true before and after and his pitchers were playing up more, but I personally haven't seen it that way. And Alex, I know he's your guy, but I think Gordon Graceffo could use some time down in AAA right now as well.
Yeah, as much as I don't like that, I agree with you. It's just starting to trend in the wrong direction for him. And even the stuff that I could argue for him, he's not getting out of those jams, even if the stuff doesn't look good.
I'd like to see them call up Bryson Motts and...
well, we know that's not going to happen.
Ryan
Fernandez.
Oh, come on, man. We don't need to do the Fernandez thing again.
You get length from both of them. I don't think that they're going to be worse than what Graceffo and Swanson were. And if at a minimum, they provide a little bit of insurance in the event that something goes awry today with Dustin May, which you kind of need to be prepared for given the way that his recent starts have gone.
Yeah, I don't mind doing both today if you know you're going to be putting Libby in the pen here at some point, because then you've got a full bullpen. The reason I don't know if they'll do both is because it sounds like, to me, in my opinion, my read on it is, sounds like they're going to keep with like a true 6-man rotation. And I think they would only call up 1 today, so they have that other option as a flexible one to potentially call up if they need to as well.
The other thing you could do, though, is what if Quinn just takes that spot for Libby? So you stick with your 6-man rotation, but it's not Liberator in that spot. It becomes Quinn Matthews.
Well, that's what that goes to what I said at first. Is Libby going to the bullpen or not? Because in that case, then Libby's in the pen as well. And I feel good about
either way. I think you're fine, though, right? Am I missing something?
I think the one fear that they would have is if they call up 2 fresh arms and they have literally nobody if they have to go back to the minors again here soon during the midst of still a 20-game stretch. Because now everybody that you've optioned you can't come up
You
for
have to
50
wait.
days.
Yeah, you
That's
wait
what
for the
I'm going
next
at. Your
15.
flexibility is just completely gone. And that's why, like, if you're keeping Libby in the bullpen, or you're going to move Libby to the bullpen.
At that point, you've got, what's his face? Schuster. I know, but like they
yeah, but our
can
40-man
go to
spot's
him.
going to be taken when we put Matthews on it.
That's true.
So who are you getting rid of,
And
Brandon?
I'm
All those
sorry,
guys
but
are so
there's
important on
Cesar
there.
Prieto, Tink Hintz. I think there are spots to be potentially had.
No.
Also, we're a week away from the trade deadline. And I think we all agree they're probably going to be moving somebody from this roster at the trade deadline, right?
Oh, yeah, I would agree on that.
Should be multiple.
So
somebodies.
if you're, 8 days away from the trade deadline right now, I think you should be able to make it over the next 7 or 6 with what you have currently on the roster.
I don't know, man. They've
And in
operated
the
so
event
scared
that
with
there's
their
some kind of an
pitching.
injury, you can then call somebody else up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I agree with you, but they've operated so scared on their pitching for like the 3rd consecutive year, and they've really been showing the panic signs
it's
on it
been-
over the last couple days.
And it's been about a month that they've been operating that way since that Royals series.
Maybe you just call up one then, and if you do, I would imagine it's I've been wrong on everything with this, but I would imagine it's probably because of the length that he can provide.
I think
Bryson
Mott's,
Motts, who comes up in favor of Matt Swanson, and they just say, "Hey, Swanson, go back down. We'll see you in 15 days," and we're going to give this opportunity here, especially in the lefty lane, to a guy that can give us a little bit of bulk. But yeah, I think today's a huge deal for what they're going to do with Dustin May. I asked this on Twitter earlier today. If you only had 2 options with Dustin May, what would you prefer? Say these are the only 2 options, okay? Option 1, trade him at the deadline, but all you're getting in return is a lottery ticket prospect with low odds of ever reaching the major leagues, much less becoming an impact player at the major leagues. Or option 2, you keep him at the deadline, and then you bring him back in 2027 on a 1-year, $20 million deal. Which of those 2 options would you prefer, Alex? Trade at the deadline for a lottery ticket prospect, or keep him next year for $20 million?
I think I just keep him next year for $20 million.
I think that's my thought process as well.
I don't think a lottery ticket prospect really helps you right now, even if I do trust their evaluation process. I think at least having him and hoping for better upside next year and try and trade him again next year in a 1-year deal doesn't hurt you is the better way to go.
This is not something that I will argue vehemently on either side of, but I would lean more on the keep him for $20 million side.
I've slowly been leaning more towards the take the lottery ticket. And the reason I say that, I wonder if I can just... I wonder, A, maybe they're going to do a little bit of buy, a little bit of sell, and maybe they're going after a controllable arm, whoever that might be at this deadline. Or B, maybe I'll just go do another pillow contract with somebody else next year, right? I think Freddie
trust their
Peralta's...
evaluations.
Yeah, I think Freddie Peralta's probably going to take a pillow deal next year. All right. I
Less
would
than
take
$20 million, you think?
I think it'd probably be close to it, but I think Freddie Peralta's got a higher ceiling than Dustin May. So I would be looking at that going, all right, if Freddie Peralta bounces back on this pillow deal, A, if we want to keep him, we'll QO him, and then we'll get a draft pick for him because he'll sign a bigger deal. Or B, he pitches really well, we suck, and guess what? Someone will actually trade for a Freddie Peralta.
I guess the question I'd ask, though, is if I'm Freddie Peralta, why would I go sign with you if you're not going to give me a ton of money?
Well, because his market may not be what he wants. Like, I think he wanted a 5-year, like $100+ million deal. He's not getting that this offseason.
Well, I know,
so
but
either I can settle
aren't there other teams that you'd go to if you're Freddie Peralta
maybe,
that's
but
offering a 1 year?
he might say if I do a pillow deal. I mean, we've seen a lot from starters recently that have bad years where they go, yeah, I believe in myself. I'm going to do the 1-year pillow deal, and then I'll get a bigger contract. Like Jack did that.
The other thing is, like, if you're the Cardinals,
Get Jack.
I can now sell. We've done this.
Yeah.
Like, look at what
Exactly.
the road to rehabilitation was for Dustin May here, where he's been terrible previously. Like, prior to coming to the Cardinals, he had been awful for like 3 years or unavailable. And the Cardinals both showed an ability to keep him healthy and also get the best version of him. His stuff played up for the majority of this season, and I think Dustin May is going to get some kind of a decent contract off of this. So there's proof of concept that the Cardinals can now sell, and, because we've talked about it for a decent portion of today's show, you get to play at Busch Stadium where it suppresses opposing offense all year long, and that's going to be something that helps an uptick with your overall traditional numbers as well. So I do think there is a case to be made that if you're a pitcher, I can now look at the Cardinals for the first time in about a decade and say, this is a place where I can once again go to rehabilitate my image across Major League Baseball and become a guy once again that can get a big payday after leaving the St. Louis Cardinals.
And I threw Freddie Peralta's name out there because I do think he is a candidate for a pillow deal. He may end up getting more money than I'm expecting because teams may bet on him, but his stuff profile is bad. Another one I would throw out there, we've talked about him as well, because he hadn't stayed healthy. That's where it jogged my mind. Casey Mize of Detroit. I could see him coming in on a pillow deal. He's dealt with injuries through his career. They can bring him in. They can sell him on that. We can keep you healthy. Your stuff will play up, and then you can go get that contract you're looking for if you pitch well. Those are just a couple of things because, like, right now with May, I think you're kind of seeing what he is now as a pitcher at the big league level. I don't know that ceiling of the guy when he first came up with the Dodgers is there anymore because when he's bad, he gets blown up. You know, he can't stop it when his stuff's not playing. So would I rather pay him $20 million when I think the odds are you probably get something similar to this year? And if we're talking about right now, you're just getting a lottery ticket prospect, I don't know that much of that is going to change next year either. I would probably go down the path of let's get a lottery ticket prospect for Dustin May now, and then we'll figure it out whether that is we make a trade for somebody else at this year's deadline when we start the offseason early, or we go and look for that new pillow deal next offseason.
Another pitcher that I would throw into this mix, couple of them. Chris Bubich from the Kansas City Royals. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, but if you're able to get him back, road to rehabilitation, he could be a guy. Brady Singer has had a terrible season this year with the Cincinnati Reds, but could you get a little something more out of him?
He screams that it's that ballpark that's killing him.
Yeah, Zach Allen. Can you figure something out with his arsenal?
One would be interesting.
That might be the kind of guy that you could bring in on a 1-year trial deal to find out, hey, is there anything left here in the tank?
$20 million.
Yeah, that also has massive upside
more what
too.
they got.
Yeah, so there's some options here in the event that the Cardinals decide to go back to the market and do a similar kind of a deal to Dustin May. Somebody on the text line said, is Dustin May really worth $20 million? No, he's not. But the reason that I bring up that dollar figure is because that's what the qualifying offer is, somewhere thereabouts. I think it's like 22, 23 this year. And if you're going to bring back Dustin May, whether it's on the mutual option or the qualifying offer, I'm guessing he would decline the mutual option if he thinks that a qualifying offer is coming his way, because he gets a slight uptick in salary. And also, then you couldn't use the qualifying offer on him next season, which means that in the future, for the rest of his career, he's no longer eligible for the QO. So that's a really big deal if you're a starting pitcher, to be able to have that placed upon you once, so you don't have to deal with it in the future, because it does impact what other teams are willing to give you. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, this is also part of the conversation, and it's the uncertainty of it all. We have no idea if the qualifying offer is even going to exist in the new collective bargaining agreement, because it is absolutely something that the players are going to try to get rid of in the event that that's on the negotiating table. So there's just so much uncertainty with this offseason. I do wonder if that plays into some of the Cardinals' decisions at the deadline as well. Coming up next, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. One's got to go here on BK and Ferrario.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals fell the Diamondbacks yesterday 10-6. Tonight they start a 3-game set with the Cincinnati Reds. 7:15 first pitch. Dustin May will be on the mound for St. Louis. And the big news of the day, LeBron James signs a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
At 314-399-9646, that's the Air Comfort Service text line for One's Gotta Go. You give us 4 different options. We'll tell you which one's gotta go here on BK and Ferrario. Let's start out with this one. Alex, the texter gave us 4 options. I'm going to eliminate one because I know that you guys will. So let's go with 3. One's gotta go.
Judge me.
FIFA World Cup, the Summer Olympics, or the Winter Olympics. They included the NBA playoffs here, and you guys would both eliminate that.
Yeah.
See, I don't think I would have actually.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah, mine would be Summer Olympics, but I would have gotten rid of the NBA.
Oh, really?
The Summer Olympics don't do much for me.
I like the Summer Olympics.
The Summer Olympics.
Yeah, it's just not anywhere near
Track
the other
and
ones.
field and swimming?
Swimming's my favorite.
I don't like those. I don't enjoy watching those. No.
Yeah, I actually like them.
Basketball's getting better to a point where some of those countries are catching up. That it's becoming more interesting. But there for a while, I mean, it was just
Gymnastics? Like
Gymnastics.
Summer Olympics
That's
are
nothing
great.
for me.
Dude.
They had BMX there for
I
a while. That was in it, which
love
was
the Winter
fun.
Olympics because hockey's fairly competitive once you get outside the group
Do
stage.
you watch anything beyond hockey, though?
Curling. I love curling. I mean, Alex, you were off
curling.
during some of the Olympics. Me and Alex had like 2 games going on.
Oh, yeah. I like luge in the Winter Olympics. That's really fun.
Yeah, I would
like
got rid of the Summer Olympics.
I do like the snowboarding.
You were judging
and the
me,
skiing.
Brandon.
Yeah. I would get rid of the NBA.
I really love the Summer Olympics.
The Summer Olympics are just kind of like the FIFA World Cup to me, to where it only comes around so often that I want to watch everything that goes with it.
If I never watched the Summer Olympics again, I'd be happy.
I think I would get... Man, people are going to get really mad at me. I think I would get rid of the World Cup. There's just so much on with the Summer and the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
Whereas with the World Cup, it's literally just soccer. I've got all kinds of sports all day long with both the Summer and the Winter Olympics. So there's just more there for me. I would probably get rid of the World Cup, and that's not because I dislike it, but all 3 of these events are amazing. All right. One's got to go Commissioner Edition. Adam Silver, Rob Manfred, Roger Goodell, or Gary Bettman. I can't believe my answer to this. It would not have been this as recently as a few years ago. I think the correct answer here is Adam Silver.
I think I agree with it.
I don't think he's done anything that has made the game better in the last 5 years.
Yeah. I don't feel like the game has grown like all of the other 3 have.
Yeah. Rob Manfred, he's super unpopular, and this offseason ain't going to be great for him, I can promise, but there have been changes that have been implemented under his watch that have actively improved the game.
And Gary Bettman, I mean, I think Gary Bettman's probably been, I know Goodell's awesome, but Bettman's been the best of the bunch in the last 10 years.
Yeah, 2 decades ago, he would have been the worst by far.
Those lockouts that they went through, but man, you talk about growing the game exponentially, and that's been Bettman.
I would still go Manfred. I get what you're saying on Silver. Silver's definitely not having any great moments, but he also has seemed to avoid the nightmare of labor disruption.
Yep.
And this is going to be the 3rd time essentially Manfred's have it. 2020 they had to go a shortened season. They just had one in 2022. Now they got the full year in, but let's not forget they bumped, I think, the first 6 games of the year to the back end of the schedule because they started late. And this is not going to be a pretty one on his resume. And you've got the Astros scandal that he didn't handle well, in my opinion. I know he's done some good things for the game. The negatives outweigh all his positives, so I'd say him.
From the 314, one's got to go travel edition. A car, plane, RV, or a train. I've never done a train or RV for an actual travel.
I would do a train one, though.
I did a train for Chicago in 8th grade. We did a field trip to Chicago, and we took the train, which was fun when I was an 8th grader. Haven't done it since.
We want to take Luca on a train to KC.
Yeah. I really want to do an RV.
Like to do soon.
I've tried to convince Katie we're going to Disney in February with the girls. I've tried to convince her to do the RV. She won't have it, but I really want to try it, especially if you get one of those luxury ones, because I feel like it'd be fun to be able to go on a long road trip through the country with an RV, but it's not as easy.
My answer is car.
I think so too.
Mine's plane. I'd get rid of plane.
Oh,
because
really?
the other
I hate
ones,
planes,
just
man.
quicker.
It's quicker, but it's expensive, and they just give me anxiety.
I think the biggest thing is you can kind of move around with the other 3.
Yeah.
And in a car, you are stuck stationary in one spot for basically the entire time that you're in the car. And you can do other things while you're on board of a plane or a train, or in the RV. In a car, there ain't a whole lot you can do, man. So, yeah, I think I would go with car. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for One's Gotta Go. From Dirk Diggler's unit, One's Gotta Go. Stephen A., Colin Cowherd, Pat McAfee, or Nick Wright. You guys know Nick is the guy that I grew up with.
I got to be honest, I don't really listen to any of these.
I think I would probably say out of those four, I know that's not going to be a popular stance, but Pat McAfee is the one that I find to be the least entertaining of the four.
Yeah,
I think he's good on College Game Day, but like his actual show that he produces, it's the one that I find least interesting.
I just
so
don't.
I'll go Pat.
I'm with you.
I don't respect what he's built, though.
I don't find Pat interesting. It's hard for me to listen to anything Stephen A. Smith does because all he does is yell. And like, to me, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to feel a part of it when I feel like I'm getting yelled at the entire time. Fair. So as much as I don't think Pat McAfee's interesting, I don't like the yelling with Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, I'd go McAfee as well. I mean, he's done a great job building up the brand. He does nothing for me. I mean, every time I see their clips, half the time I go, this didn't need to be a clip. Or it's the classic, wasn't this awesome? Wasn't this great? And I'm like, man, that's not an opinion, right? That's just like saying the thing everybody says. So I would say it's McAfee for me, and that wasn't hard.
Does good with interviews. I'll give him credit on that one. I think he gets stuff out of interviews that other people can't get.
I will say this. I respect the hell out of what he's built. It's amazing what he's been able to build for himself, for his show, for his buddies. Like, it's really remarkable. It's quite a story to retire from football and then like bet on yourself in an irrational way, Alex.
Yeah.
To believe that you could become a true superstar in the sports media landscape, which is not an easy thing to carve out, regardless of what your history is, especially as a former punter. It's not as though this is a guy that was like a Hall of Fame level quarterback, and he's built kind of a media empire for himself. That's amazing. It's just not necessarily for me. All right, One's Gotta Go barbecue side edition. Potato salad, coleslaw, or beans? I hate potato salad.
Man, I like all of those. Coleslaw would probably be the least favorite of the three, though.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think I'd do potato salad. I mean, I'm not big on baked beans, but I could eat them. Not big on coleslaw. I can eat it.
You know what I like?
I'm passing on that potato salad when you bring it.
I like coleslaw when you put it, like, on something. Like sometimes I'll make
Do you like it on like a pulled pork sandwich? Oh, really? I would rather have it on the side.
Man, I
really?
could do some like sweet and tangy coleslaw, like with some like barbecue tacos or something. It's real. I like the crunch with
I'd rather have
something I'm eating. But yeah, no, the other two I can eat as a separate side.
No doubt. Yeah, pulled pork sandwich with some
and then put some pickles on it too.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I love me some
Now we're talking.
I just need the meat with the barbecue sauce.
Just a meat guy, man. I get it.
Last one here. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for One's Gotta Go. Where did it go? I just lost it.
It went.
It was One's Gotta Go barbecue edition. And it was, I think, chicken, beef, pork, and I forgot what the other one was, but go with those.
Okay. Well, I'll say the other one's gotta go.
It just disappeared on the text line.
What a pro.
Yeah. Chicken, beef, pork.
I think it's got to be chicken. I like chicken's like my favorite thing. I love making it all the time, but it's not beef like pulled pork or barbecue beef. Like no chance.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I hate it because the only way I like making chicken is barbecue, but I can do other ways with the chicken to where it's like I love smoking and barbecuing pork and beef. So yep, I'll say the chicken. I'd like to know what the other one was.
It was those three. I found it finally, and I would go pork.
Because I couldn't figure out a fourth one.
Out of the three, I would go pork as being my least interesting.
Really?
You could do salmon on a barbecue as well.
Yeah. Fish. I guess you could put fish, and I'd get fish out of all. Or I'd get rid of fish on all of them. Splashback Deuce said, Alex, how about eating some coleslaw off the toilet? Hey, man,
nice
it better work only in breakfast. You don't really want to do it in the middle of the day.
Coming up next, time for the BK and Ferrario Rewind here on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you guys want to get involved in the podcast game as an advertiser, you can do so. We have new packages available now on the Last Minute Blues podcast. We've already got one that's jumping aboard, I think, here pretty soon with Alex. You can also do that with the Redbird Report. For more. Check us out at youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. If you're interested in becoming a partner with either the Redbird Report or the Last Minute Blues podcast, reach out to myself, Alex, or T-Bone. We'd be happy to direct you to the people that can tell you a little bit about some of those packages. Hell, we can tell you about them at this point.
Call us. We'll do it.
We've been able to learn a little bit about that side of the business. So again, if you guys are interested,
sales tie.
if you know a business that you think would be a good tie-in with the Redbird Report or the Last Minute Blues podcast, reach out to us. We'd be happy to give you some of that info.
We got new episodes this week, so watch it and just imagine your business being a part of that podcast.
There's social media clips that are associated with it. It's the podcast. We can do live reads in it. We can have you as the title sponsor. There's all kinds of different options, and we can give you more of that information if you reach out via either email or on social
Depending
media.
on how far we go with this, I might stamp your logo on my forehead. That's where we're at these days.
Hey, man, I think Alex would be willing to go so far as to, like, you got a pool company, you got a hot tub company. Maybe he'll do a show in a hot tub, for example. If you want to have us do a live Redbird Report from your restaurant,
T-Bone tarps off.
we're willing to do it. We've got a lot of options for you. All right.
How bad do you want it, T-Bone?
If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. It's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
101 ESPN app is free to download. It's super easy to use, and that app is sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. By the way, speaking of the Redbird Report, there's a new edition of the Redbird Report available for you now at youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. That is also where you can see the latest edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast. All right, before we get out of here today, Alex, Cardinals back in action this weekend against the Cincinnati Reds. Man, if you lose this series...
I said that for the Angels one, man.
I know, but at least at that point, you were still a few games above 500. It wasn't
it's
good.
Still the Angels, though, man.
No doubt, no doubt. And that was a rough one on Monday. How are you feeling going into this? 7 games below 500 are the Cincinnati Reds. They're not a good team, but they've won 4 out of 6 coming out of the break.
I mean, honestly, it's just I think I've just gone to the conclusion that this is a team that's going to be selling. So it's kind of like I have no feelings tied to it. I'm just now interested in the individuals. I'm interested in what Walker does the rest of the way and what Weatherholt does the rest of the way and what McGreevy does, what Dustin May does leading up to the trade deadline. Like, I'm more interested in getting to the point where we're bringing up younger pieces to play for the Cardinals so we can see them rather than me focusing on games and series, because I think I've come to the conclusion they're just not a playoff team.
You should have a pitching advantage the next couple of days. It's Rhett Lauder on the mounds today. He has been awful. And Hunter Green on the mound tomorrow, who the name is more than the game this year. Over his last 3 starts, which are the only 3 starts that he's taken so far this year, has a 6 ERA. Oof. Most recent start looked a little better, started to look like himself. The strikeout stuff is there, but the ERA is not where you'd want it to be. I don't feel great about it going in, but I'm going to go ahead and say they win 2 out of 3 because it's the Reds, but I don't have the same confidence I'd like to.
You think they silence Lauder tonight?
T-Bone, how are you feeling?
Not good. That
Come
was
on, man.
terrible.
It was good. No. Lauder, silence.
No.
Man.
I think they dropped 2 of 3. I actually am not convinced they have the pitching advantage in this series because I don't know what to expect from May, just like the Reds don't know what to expect from Lauder. Green, though he is coming back from injury, I would bet on his stuff
Still
eventually getting clicked. I like Palante Leahy going for you, but the way the offense is going, they're probably going to make Green look good. They're going to make Abbott look good. I'm sure they'll make Lauder look somewhat good. So I think they dropped 2 of 3.
And the problem is your bullpen. Like, I'm not worried about your pitching anymore. It's your offense and your bullpen right now.
I do think there's going to be some kind of a move later today. T-Bone informed us during a break that it sounds like Ryan Fernandez threw a couple innings last night, so I wouldn't anticipate him being one of the moves. My guess is
Schuster.
If they make a move, it'll probably be, finally, Bryson Mott's getting the call up later on this afternoon. The Fast Lane will keep you apprised with any news as they get it later on today. If you guys missed our show, again, check it out on the podcast page or on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Have yourself a fantastic weekend. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. The Fast Lane is next here on 101 ESPN.